I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. When we call on you to speak during the public hearing, please come up to the microphone, state your name, and then speak and we'll listen. And while I can't demand respect, I would just like to ask people if we could just try to have a conversation in a way, not so much for us up here, but really more for the audience outside and the public, when they're listening to you. So with that, would anybody like to open up the public input, the public hearing, and speak?
Never been first.
You had your hand up so fast, if you waited, somebody else would have gone.
I can't seem to get online, so
It should be, did it work?
We can
Or
try
Try capital O, no?
capital.
Do you want somebody else to go first so you can get online?
No, that's all right. What am I really? There doesn't seem to be any resources online that will help to inform me anyway. Is this thing connected to like the audio of the feed, or can I do without it and that'll be okay?
No, they need that so the TV can pick you up.
How long?
Hello.
How long is this?
How long? Well, I mean, we do have a
We'd like you to
meeting
be
at 7:30.
respectful of the other speakers,
Oh,
so.
okay. Oh, okay. So, all right.
But we're not going to time.
Also, hello. Oh, I didn't really gather my thoughts, which is probably for the best. My name is Justin Holmes. I'm a resident of New Paltz. I live at 24 Church Street in the village, which makes me also obviously in the town. First and foremost, I'd like to just understand what is going on here. The New Paltz Times article, while informing that there was something going on, didn't make terribly clear. It was, comments from the town board seemed to be a little opaque as to the underlying impetus for the proposed move. As I understand it, the people who did comment on whether or not the move is a result of confidence in the police commission seem to think that there was in fact confidence in the police commission, and this is not a sort of indictment of their behavior. However, by the way, it seems that many people who are concerned about issues of policing, liberty, and justice seem to want to preserve the police commission. And I'm not sure where I stand on that, but I've watched, since I've lived here, the police commission first decided that it was okay for the police to have semi-automatic rifles with 30-round magazines, which didn't make any sense to me and doesn't make any sense to me. Then I watched the police commission decide that it was okay for the police to have tasers, but it seemed to be too much to ask that they, do a 5-minute Google search on what tasers are, how they work, and the details of their deployment across the United States. Today they kill a person approximately every 5 days, and yet we are okay with them being carried in our community. So what's not clear to me is where the moral authority is, who is driving this boat. Now, if the idea is that the town board is going to oversee the police in a way that they weren't overseen by the police commission, that sounds good. But we're in a funny spot because we have a chief in Chief Snyder who seems to be, seems like he gets it. And he seems like he understands what's at stake in decisions that are made by and for police. He seems like he understands the needs of liberty. He seems like he understands the shortcomings of the various policies and laws that the police are tasked to enforce. The only thing I've had trouble being confident that he understands is that he one day will be gone. And then what? We're going to have, I guess, maybe Ozerchuk, right? Who I don't really know at all.
It is your times, but he retired, but that's okay.
Ozerchuk retired, see? So it's unclear to me who is even going to be next. Am I good?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
In 30 years, I'd like for the New Paltz Police Department to look like this. I'd like for it to be staffed by good people. I'd like for them not to have tasers. I'd like for them to have video and audio recording equipment that is on at all times. I'd like for the results of that video and audio recording equipment to be published, if not immediately, then after a quick review to ensure that it comports with privacy laws. I'd like perhaps for them not to be armed at all. I think that I think that we're entering an age of the species where technology is moving quickly enough that we need to be ready to question all of these policies. So, like, who, you know, it's not clear for a resident of New Paltz where they can learn your positions on these matters, where they can learn the positions of the individual members of the commission on these matters, and it seems like there is just sort of a general lack of moral authority on this stuff. And that's a little bit frustrating. Last year, I think it was, we had a situation where, and to me this boggles the mind, we had 5 people who didn't seem to understand what tasers are, how they work, the fact that they kill people, the fact that the company that manufactures them aggressively litigates against communities who try to react when their tasers kill their citizens. And we were willing to, you know, engage in an expenditure on these devices, while at the same time we lost Janae Gasparini, one of our best police officers, to the Poughkeepsie Department over $3,400 or something. This is ridiculous. I haven't heard anybody in the community say, we really want AR-15s and we really want tasers, but we really want to lose some of our best officers. We'd rather spend money on equipment, some people use the pejorative term police toys, than we would on officers that have won the confidence of the community. So again, who is the moral authority? We have a town supervisor who, for better or for worse, I think the perception is that during her last term she was anti-police. I think that that's an incredibly unnuanced position that I'm sure is not the reality. And yet, despite that perception, we haven't had a great deal of discourse about, like, where are we now? So my main question then is, if the police commission is disbanded, can we get a reality check on how we actually feel about the major decisions that they have made, about your perception, about where do you stand on these decisions that they've made? Do you recognize that overwhelming majorities of the community, as evidenced by letters to the New Paltz Times, people who showed up here, both at the meetings of the police commission and the town board, overwhelming majorities were not okay with the purchase of AR-15s, were not okay with the purchase of tasers. In general, then where are we going? What kind of decisions are going to be made differently? Will those decisions have been made differently, and will they be made differently in the future? That needs to be abundantly clear before we're even prepared to have this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who would like to speak next? Mandy, you got to go.
Just really quickly, I just want to make sure that I have this right, but all of those decisions that you were talking about, the semi-automatic weapons and the tasers, that was actually officially approved by the town board upon the recommendation of the police commission, is that correct? Meaning, not this particular embodiment of the town board, but those decisions are actually made by the town board upon the recommendation of the police commission. Can I get a nod from someone? Ariana's nodding. I'm going to take that as a yes.
Well,
All
no,
right.
not really. No, not really. No.
Okay.
No.
Can you explain?
No.
We're not supposed to.
Or
It's not. This isn't a dialogue, but no, that is not how it worked. No, but that's
Sure.
a conversation.
We'll have
All
a
right,
conversation later.
I'm going to go through this, and there's a couple of questions in here, so at some point after public input is over, if you guys could address maybe some of these questions and Justin's as well. Okay, so some of my concerns, if we were to get rid of the commission and give all those responsibilities to the town board, is are you going to be overburdened by that work? Are things going to be done as effectively and as quickly? I do think the work that the police commission does is necessary and important. They don't even, just act as a liaison between the town board and the police department, but also the community and the police department. They're the ones who take complaints from people, whether it's, I hear a lot of complaints myself, just from people who call the police and they don't ever show up, or they call the police and they don't show up timely enough. And also just, people feeling that they were harassed or treated unfairly or illegally by the police. So all of those issues and complaints, which are really, really important information for the police chief to have, because if he doesn't know that these things are problems, and if the town board doesn't know that these things are problems, they'll never be taken care of. So, timeliness of the processing of these complaints and action taken on them is a huge concern of mine. And I know that the town board and village boards and local municipalities are often overburdened with work, and we have a huge water problem that we're trying to solve right now, which has a definite deadline. So I would like to see the town board concentrating more on those kind of issues and letting the trained group of volunteers who've been doing this for a long time keep doing that. I'm also concerned about the police being directly accountable to the town board itself and not to the community more directly, because with the police commission, it's just town and village residents. These are just community members who are volunteering their time. They're not elected officials, they're not politicians, they're not police officers. They're just members of the community, and I feel more comfortable with the complaints going to a body like that than to town boards or village boards, just because that can leave room for corruption. Not you guys specifically, but you're not always going to be the town board. So that's another concern of mine. And I also do one other question. Someone asked me who wasn't able to make it tonight if there was going to be a time period where people could submit comments, or if you guys are going to be voting on it tonight. So if after tonight there's still opportunity for people to weigh in, email, whatever, I would like to know that as well. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it as far as my main concerns, other than just wanting to know why. Like, what is the reasoning? Are there other potential solutions? Are there other changes that could be made to the police commission instead of actually just getting rid of it altogether? This is something that's really important to me. I've had a lot of friends who, although I must say, like, since Chief Joe Snyder took over, things have gotten a lot better regarding the police department. A lot less complaints. I hear a lot less bad behavior. I know some officers that are better behaved and or not in the department anymore. Unfortunately, I miss Janae too. I just want to make that part of my public statement. I love Janae and she was a great cop, and it is sad that we lost her. But as I said, after Chief Snyder took over, we've seen a lot of improvements in the police department, and I want to keep it going in that vein. And I feel getting rid of the police commission might slow down the improvements, both the improvements in the relations between the community and the police department, and just the functioning of the police department itself. That's it. Thank you.
Somebody else like to speak?
Thank you. Michael Zeeler, New Paltz. A couple of points about this. I apologize, I just came in, so if I repeat anything anybody said, they kind of hard. So the first issue of concern is what happened in December when you all made the decision, or three of you made the decision to abolish the, or to remove the members of the police commission. The concern that I have there is that, based on what I've heard from people and what I've read, is that this was not part of the agenda. And although it wasn't part of the agenda, it seemed to be that the members who were there came well prepared to discuss this. I understand that, at least from one council person, that it was slated to be on the agenda, but for some reason wasn't put on. I can't understand any reasons that are compelling that would have you be in a position where you had to make that decision with only 3 members, and also in that period between an election and the establishment of the new town board, which we have here, why that would have to be done under those circumstances. Regardless of the intent, it certainly looks bad, and I think it wastes your political capital to put you in a position where you make a decision like that that is bound to be controversial, and not give people an opportunity to hear all of the reasons why. So I think in terms of process, that was an unfortunate event, and I wish that you could take that back. In terms of the abolition of Chapter 34 of the town law, I'm completely opposed to having you all do that for a number of reasons. One is that I think the police commission serves an essential job, and at this point, and I want to thank Councilman Logan for spending some time talking to me about this and informing me recently, but I still feel that an independent body is likely a preferential way to go than to have the town board be the police commission. In any event, the reasons for not abolishing this law are many. One is that this law, and only this law, ensures that there is a police commission. If you abolish a appointment-based body, then you all are the de facto police commission. New York State law, town law, Article 10, Section 150, doesn't require that there be a police commission, but simply allows you to establish one. And that's the difference between the local law and the state law. And I think that's significant, and so for that reason, I would, that is one of the main reasons why I would ask that you not abolish this. The second reason is that, as noted, you all won't be the town board forever, and if in the future there is a reason why it would be preferable to have the police commission established again, now a new town board is in a position where they have to create a law, spend taxpayer money, go through public hearings, and put this back on the books without any compelling reason why you need to get rid of it. I think that's an inefficient and unfortunate thing to do if you were to abolish this. So again, I would ask that you retain this law, and if there are problems, and there seem to be some issues about the fact that the police department or the police chief and the town board and the police commission are running into conflicts or situations where it is difficult to establish who has ultimate responsibility, or responsibilities are divided between the town board and the police commission in terms of police department operations or decisions made about personnel or decisions about purchases, then again, I don't think that the law is necessarily the place to go. And as somebody has already stated, I think it would be more important for you all to make it clear to the community, and if you haven't done so, if you've done so already, then do it again. What are the problems that compel you to consider abolishing this law, and what would you do in its stead? And once you've established what the problems are that need resolving, let's then come up with a series of solutions that might resolve those problems, and on that basis, then try to fix them. But again, I would urge you not to abolish Chapter 34. I think it would be a mistake. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Somebody would like to speak? Sure.
Good evening. My name is Butch Denner, town of New Paltz, 45 years. Thank you for the opportunity to voice my opinion and to represent many others who reached out to me, both publicly and quietly. I'm not here to defend the police commissioners. I've had many problems with many commissioners. Some of you may not know, but I've applied since David Strong was on the town board, how many decades ago, to be on the police commission. Obviously, since I'm a supporter of the police department, I've never been appointed. But through the problems I've seen with different police commissioners, and I go back to when there was one police commissioner, Stan Kowalik, a man with police experience, a man who understood the needs of the police department and the men and women that serve us so bravely. I'm not here to defend the commissioners from Stan on down. I'm here to defend the idea of the commission. People in this community are served by an amazing police department. Bob Lucchese, lifelong, born and raised in this town. I called him out on strikes in Little League many years ago because my girlfriend's son was pitching. So, Lucchese, born and raised, I know that. Scott Butler, his father was fire chief, his father was building inspector, born and raised in this community. Pat Koch, second generation police department. Krause, his parents helped build this community. Katie Morris, whose father is a general, the United States hero. She's been on dispatch since she was old enough to probably talk. Carpinelli, Sergeant Bunce, who's officer back here. Local people with stakes in the community. They need to be free of political interference. They need to be free of political agendas. Certain council members have already stated 2 years ago they'd like to do away with the police commission. People want to do away with the dispatch. People want to do away with everything and leave it to the state troopers and the sheriff's department. Well, Bobby Kanoth, whose parents used to change my tires at the Thruway about 40 years ago, He gets up at night, leaves his family, and patrols our streets. He doesn't need secret votes, secret meetings, and if you're going to deny secret meetings, I walked out of a joint village and town board meeting, and as I walked through the hallway, 4 members of our town board were sitting there. One was pontificating, and the other 3 were listening, and they had papers in their hand, and another elected official was sitting outside in the cold because he knew that was an illegal, or at least improper, town board meeting. So when you say you came to the meeting without an agenda, without prior knowledge, the police, the public's perception is that it was set up, that it was political paybacks. I'm not the biggest fan of Ira. I'm not the biggest fan of Randall, or I can't think of her name, Mrs. Blueberry. But these people come out of their homes, they volunteer their time, they learn. When Randall first took over, when Ira took over, I saw a lot of problems, a lot of misperceptions of how they were doing their job, a lot of prior opinions. But as they served and learned, they became much better commissioners. You want to do away with those commissioners, then do away with those commissioners. Get new commissioners, get civilians, get people with police experience, knowledge, something. Because you elected officials, if you were concerned about the police budget, maybe you would do like I did for 10 years and serve with no benefits and no salary. That would go a long way to paying some of the police budget. But we don't expect that to happen. That's not part of your deal. Okay, fine. Then just look fairly, open-eyed, and clearly, and honestly, and openly, not in secret meetings, openly, so the public will have some faith in your decisions on future police matters, because our safety depends on it, and our peace of mind depends on it. Thank you.
Anybody else who would like to speak?
Ariana's running.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ariana Basco. I'm on the New Paltz Village Board, and I am a former police commissioner. Welcome, Dan. Good to see you at the table. I want to say first that I think that the Police Commission is an important part of our community. I feel like they are the main way that the community can interface with the police department and issues that arise, and by proxy, interfacing with you about the police department. I feel like the Police Commission does research that the town board just doesn't necessarily have the time for. I mean, I sit in these seats, I understand what we are generally dealing with, and I find that there is not enough time in the day for all the things I'd love to research and look into and work on. So I find that the kind of work that the Police Commission has been doing, I'm also the liaison, well, maybe not anymore, but I have been the liaison to the Police Commission since I've been on the Village Board, since 2011, and I was on the Police Commission in 2010. An example of most recently what they've been working on, and from what I've seen they're close to finished with, is for the best way to update the antiquated police department computers, and looking for a data mining program where one of the things that we cannot search for right now is how many of X type of incident we have, and where it's occurring, and how many officers are called to that call, and what the kind of resources we need. And I also bartend, for full disclosure, so I see a lot of the nighttime activities, and there's crowd control that's needed. It might be one incident that 2 police officers can handle, but then there's the crowd control of all the people who are, kind of just standing around. I'm not kidding, it looks like that. But seriously, how many police officers are needed for any one incident? It's not always that easy to measure, and I think that having this data mining program that the Police Commission has currently been looking into, it's not cheap, but they've been spending a lot of time looking at what might work and spending a lot of time with the officers talking about what would work for everybody, including how to, what would be the easiest for pulling the reports that the Police Commission has been requesting over the years, which has increased and changed and become different things depending on who's on the commission. These things would be very helpful during budget time. They would be a useful tool for scheduling purposes and for explaining why the schedule is what it is and how many officers we need on at whatever time we need them on. And it could even be used for grant applications. If we have more statistics and data, we can apply for grants that we couldn't have necessarily applied for or wouldn't have gotten because we don't have the information necessary. It would also be a useful tool for things like the planning board's review of application dark point. This has been a huge issue that we do not know and cannot calculate exactly what the impact will be on emergency services because we don't have the numbers to begin with. I think the commission provides hands-on oversight of things like complaints from the community. They have their complaint, comment, suggestion form that has been revised and revamped and put around town and put on the website. And I was sitting earlier reading chapter 34 of the town code, and it talks about how the commissioners have to have a written response given to the chief to complaints, and vice versa, that the chief of police, if he gets a complaint, he too has to give those complaints to all the commissioners. So I think that that's a really important thing, and it's not like all of you can't do that, but I also recognize how many pieces of paper we get and how many emails, and it's really just another thing on all of our plates. And I think the town board, like Amanda said, we're working on water, we're trying to have joint meetings, we're supposed to have a joint meeting tonight. We're constantly going through these things in the back and forth, and it really becomes difficult when you have something like a police department that is a large portion of the budget and really does take a lot of thoughtful practice. I think if anything, we should really be looking at if the goal is to have more control and more authority and more direct, interface with the police department. There are many ways that we can look at doing this. First of all, you do appoint the police commissioners right now, so you would choose people that you feel would make the best decisions, and people who might represent you or make the decisions you would make best. But it's also, you could have like a dedicated item on the agenda once a month where the police commission liaison or a commission member, whether it's the chair or a designated person, can just have a little bit of a report. It doesn't have to be the full report that the commission gets, but it could be something where there can just be better communication, increased communication, and increased community interface as well that way. I just can't help but feel like this is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And I think we should all be open to discussing better ways that the commission can function, or anything can function. I think we can always be doing things better. But how to have increased communication, like I was saying, but to just repeal the chapter does seem short-sighted to me. I really do feel like the police commission plays an essential role, and if we want to restructure how they operate, have some kind of civilian review board, give them the authority that we feel, because I think like a lot of the banter back and forth has been that, well, the town board uses us as a scapegoat and we work on the budget and then they change the budget. Just this kind of back and forth that I've heard for years. There could be ways to avoid that, where we're not pitted at each other, but instead we're working collaboratively. So if we want to restructure how the commission operates, there are definitely improvements that can be made, but I feel that to place the onus of dealing with every aspect of the police department and the interface with the community on the town board members seems to just be a limiting move. So I really urge you to reconsider this, at the very least keep this public hearing open, and I would not repeal this chapter. I would go back and look at the drawing board and see what we can do to improve what's going on. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Somebody else, anybody else like to speak?
I received an
Oh,
email
you
from
do.
a resident.
Okay, can you?
Is there anyone else that wanted to speak before the email, or?
Well, we'll let her read the email and then we'll wrap it up.
This is an email that I received from a New Paltz resident. As a 19-year resident and homeowner, I object to the town board's decision to dissolve the commission. According to published articles, Mr. Logan is on record as far back as December 2011 with this exact same agenda. We, the townspeople, need our neighbors and peers to have this oversight. I firmly believe that the police commission is an absolute necessity to keep certain members of the board honest. And this is from Stephanie Gibson, who lives on Hickory Hill Road.
Okay, is there anybody else who would like to speak?
My name is Pete Sebago. I'm a former supervisor at the town of New Paltz. First of all, I'd like to commend the town board for abolishing the commission. I think it's long overdue. these conflicts that some of these people have been talking about, you wouldn't have. You can't serve two masters. The town board levies the budget and the money and pays the checks, okay? So you can't have somebody else second guessing you all the time. Everyone that I've spoken to, and I speak to a lot of people every day, they're all in favor of this, getting rid of the commission and letting the town board. You have one entity to deal with, and you won't be having all these other problems when you should have this kind of a setup and this here and that and everything else. Then they gotta go back to the town board and talk about that. The buck stops right here, as Harry Truman said, and I believe it's up to the town board, and I think you did the right thing. If anybody wants to question me on anything, go right ahead. I've lived here 83 years, a hell of a lot longer than some of these people that got up here and spoke. And I know what I'm doing.
Would anybody else like to speak? Would anybody else like to speak?
Hi, I'm Michael Russo, town resident. And I have a number of comments, and I will try to keep this from being too rambling. I do not have a prepared statement. I did write a letter in the New Paltz Times 2 weeks ago, and I will email that to the board as an official statement to go along with the comments I make here. One of the reasons I did not spend a lot of energy to pull a more structured response here is because the decision really has already been made. And there's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and this, I can't say this board because this is a new board, but the board of late, of recent years, has, in my mind, done things the wrong way many times. It's done things in a way that have failed to involve the community, and instead went around, avoided interaction with the community, or did things in such a way that it demeans the role of the community. And I feel this is a perfect example, because basically what we have here is a fait accompli. We already decided to dissolve the police commission in effect, and now we're holding a public hearing to talk about wiping the law off, but it's really immaterial whether that law stays on or not, because either way, the town board takes the role of, it works in the stead of the police commission. Now, the purpose of the New York State Open Meetings Law, and I'm not going to speak on the legal aspects, but the spirit of the law is to present the understanding to the public of what is going on, so that things are not, it's also called the sunshine law, to shine light so the public knows what's going on and understands the arguments involved. And that has not been upheld here, because the decision kind of came out of the blue, was put on the agenda the last minute, and a few reasons were given, and in my mind, they don't really hold up. Now, if a discussion had been taking place where we could see the different arguments, pro and con, and even the town board can present both sides of the argument and say that's why we're going with this, but after they air the subject, okay, then we understand what's going on. That's not the way the process went. The process was done, as already been stated by other speakers here, in the last meeting of the last term, one person was leaving the board. There was only 3 members at the meeting. The subject had not been aired before. We had most people in the community, I don't know if anybody knew that the subject would come up. I understand that the police commissioners were told that the subject would come up on the day that the discussion took place. I want to point out that one of the important things that the police commission did over the last year was raise the issue about the estimates that that Wilmerite was claiming for police activity, and was instrumental in pushing for for challenging those numbers. And they made their own estimates, and then the board acted to bring in some consultant to kind of look at the impact there. And that's just one example, but the police commission has done a number of things that should be, I don't know if the community realizes, that have been very helpful over the last few years. What was said at the December meeting was that they've done a superlative job. That's not a quote. That was expressed a number of times by particularly Councilman Logan. So it's unclear why you would change the nature of something that has been working well. And there were a few arguments. One was about budgets, which doesn't make sense to me, as I said in my letter, because the budgets are really separate. There's certainly opportunity to participate in the police commission, and most of the time the town board did not show up there. Certainly conversations can happen with the police commission for budgetary reasons. I assume they did, but I don't know, but I don't understand, if not, why they wouldn't, and I don't quite understand why that makes such a tremendous difference in terms of getting rid of the whole police commission to get more. It's not in the role of the police commission to do the budget. So, in some commentary or exchange that Councilman Logan had with the community on Facebook, he was asking the question of why is it a bad idea for the town not to act in the police commission stead, for the town not to play the role of the police commission. And I asked him if that was a rhetorical question or he actually wanted to know, and at that point I didn't see any response from Jeff. But that question still exists, and I'll tell you the reason why I asked that question. Because if you don't know, that means that the question hasn't been aired. The question of abolishing the police commission hasn't been aired adequately yet, and it should be, so that you can get all the information, and the arguments pro and con are out there for both the community and for the town board to weigh out. And there were a number of reasons that were. I brought up one reason in my letter to the New Paltz Times. Another person had posted something that gave another reason, and Jeff, you yourself gave a very good reason for why it might be a bad idea, and that's when you outlined what your week is like, how much you actually have on your plate between your personal life and your work life, and then the commitments to the community, which I want to say I appreciate all the time and effort and dedication you have. But there's a factor of diminishing returns. When you have anybody who's putting in far too much and doesn't have enough time to focus because they're trying to cover all bases, then decisions start getting made that are not good decisions, or they get made too fast because there's no time to proceed with proper analysis of the questions at hand, and decisions get made much more quickly, and then you wonder why was that a good decision or not, and you're sort of winging it. And that's a nature of that's something I've already seen in the town board. I would like that not to be the case. So that itself is a reason, and that's you, Jeff, that you have a great deal of dedication, but not everyone on the town board has that much time to offer or is that dedicated. And it's not just about you, it's about everyone serving on the town board. So here you have a case where you have people that are willing and able to do a job that has been superlative, or whatever adjectives have been used for that, and it's a case of good delegation. You mentioned a reason you gave in December was also to reduce the layers of management, because that's a good principle. Well, that isn't necessarily a good principle. It's a good principle when those layers of management aren't effective and they're inefficient, and they cost more than they produce value. But here you had volunteers that were capable, and it doesn't jive with that kind of reasoning. Okay, I've done enough rambling. That's I'll just leave it there. I hope that the town board reconsiders the question of the police commission, not just the law, but the police commission as an independent group of people that are serving the town board and the community. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Anybody else?
We do have it on. We do have it on.
All right. My name is Scott Shepard. I am a police officer with the New Paltz Police Department and have been for the last 23 years. Also during my service, I served as a PBA president, vice president, secretary, and a representative. I understand much of what was said here tonight, and I'm in agreement with a lot of it. However, in my other roles that I have had in dealing with the police commission, I observe a side of the police commission that not all of you see. I will speak only of my opinion, not the opinion of the department, nor the opinion of the PBA. It was just mentioned about adding an extra layer of management. In my personal opinion, the police commission is an added layer of bureaucracy. It creates a filtering issue, and this is something that we've encountered time and time again. The police commission was designed to be an oversight committee for the police department, and they've done some very good work, as was noted here today. But they cannot continue to have the type of relationship that they maintain with the department and the administration of the department. There needs to be a degree of separation, or their very objective becomes clouded. And I believe that has happened. I am not opposed to a police commission, but I believe that the town board at this juncture does need to step in. They need to reevaluate the duties, the responsibilities, and the authority of the police commission before we establish another police commission. Again, I am not against the police commission, but there are some things that need to be addressed, a protocol, before it is reestablished. And again, these are my opinions and my opinions only. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to speak? Okay, nobody else? Okay, with that, what's the board's pleasure? Would you like to close the meeting and keep it open for?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second, for discussion, we do have the discussion of police commission on our agenda.
And so are you saying that you would like to keep the public hearing
Close the-
open while we have the discussion, or you want to keep it open till the next meeting so that you can have a longer public hearing? Or do you feel that you have heard enough opinions? Or do you want to leave it open till the next meeting and we can have a longer public hearing?
I second your motion to close the public hearing.
Okay.
He said for purposes of discussion. So he seconded Jean's motion to close the public hearing for discussion. Is there something,
Well, I was just going to ask if we're planning on taking any action tonight, and then if not, would there be any harm in then keeping the public hearing open?
I don't think anybody on this board is expecting to take action tonight. We have it on for discussion. However, some new issue arose with Park Point that's going to need our time with legal counsel, who we're waiting to get here. And when he does get here, we're going to have to...
Actually, he's here.
Oh, is he here?
He might be in your office.
Oh, did you see him come in?
Right there. There he is.
Oh, you are here?
He's here.
Okay, we do have legal counsel that needs to speak with us, and so I don't usually like to do executive session, assuming we all will be willing to go into executive session, because you have to make a motion to go in. I don't usually like to leave the audience sitting while we go into executive session, but because of the lawyer's time, we're going to have no choice. So we do have the discussion on here. I don't expect to make a decision tonight. I would like not to make the decision without Kevin Barry being here to be a part of the conversation. So, no, I don't think we'll make any decision tonight.
Okay. So then, I mean, and I understand if that's not the will of my other fellow board members, but if that's the case, then I do think that we maybe should keep the public hearing open, even if just for Kevin, who's not here.
Well, we could also keep it open. It was requested that we, if we close it, or that we keep it open for at least,
Oh, for comments?
that for written comments, which we can do also.
Okay.
So if you're okay with that, we could close it tonight, and then, I think,
No.
no, we keep,
Well, but
go ahead.
it's actually a question that goes into the legality of it. If we close the public hearing, can you really accept written comments after the closing of the public hearing? Or do you need to leave the public hearing open so that you can receive written comments after
No,
the...
you don't, and luckily, we do have an attorney here. They, at Park Point, the planning board closed the public hearing, as I remember correctly, but they kept it open for another, 10 days to receive written comment. Is that true? Yes. So we can close the public hearing, but keep it open for written comment till next Thursday, till beyond next Thursday.
Or we could just keep it open.
Yeah. I mean, my personal belief is most of the people who wanted to speak came out tonight and spoke.
Okay.
And so I would like to keep it open, though, for, at least another week till next Thursday, per se, to get
Well,
written input from people who
Okay.
couldn't come tonight.
But I was going to say, how about 5 days for written comment? Because then we could have them
Okay.
2 days prior to the meeting so that we can read them and
Okay.
be ready.
So would you like to amend your motion to,
Rosanna, did you get my friendly amendment to close the public hearing, but to accept written comments
Until the
for 5 days,
till the 21st.
until the 21st?
okay, Jeff, do you accept that
I
friendly
accept
amendment?
that friendly amendment, yes.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, motion so carried. Okay, so now we're going to open our regular town board meeting, and we already did the pledge, so, or do you want to do the pledge again?
We don't need to do
Are you guys okay that we did the pledge? Okay. So approval of the agenda, what we need to do is, like I just said, we do have to, I'm going to be asking for a motion to go in executive session for client-attorney privilege on Park Point and the pilot. And as we all know, there's a public hearing with the IDA coming up next week. And so we do have some client-attorney conversation we have to have, so we need to add that to the agenda. We need to add just a revision to the IMA that we did with the village board for the purposes of the joint master plan, and it's really just a slight revision to reflect the payment that we negotiated after the fact that we've voted on the IMA, so we just need it. We need specific language in it for the bookkeeper to be comfortable to cut the check and then bill the village, so we just need to add that. And then the New Paltz Views escrow, we're going to take that off the agenda because our bookkeeper found some more, received some more bills that she needed to
Right.
put to the escrow account. However, let me just point out that by us moving this to next week, it's going to be not through the warrant process, and because the developer is asking for the money back, and we have had their money for a long time, that I'm going to ask for us to basically, if we have everything figured out and we feel comfortable and we approve it, that will authorize the check being cut outside the warrant. And then on the MOA for the police, that has to do with, how we pay the officers for comp time, or is that MOA, that thing that for a long time ago you came to talk to me about? We had actually approved it, the board, a while ago, and I actually had signed it. I was told that it was a PBA that actually had some concerns, even though it was brought to us by the PBA, but then that the PBA had some concerns, so it never got solved. I don't know what happened. I do know that it was given to us to put on the agenda tonight, but because I'd been told that there was a PBA that had concerns, I asked to take it off. Our labor attorney is coming Friday. I can talk to him again. We'll be together for negotiations on the Teamsters, and we can, figure it out, and then we can always put it on next week. So I didn't want to put it on tonight after the conversation you and I had. Plus, the MOA that we had 2013 on it, and 2013 is come and gone, and we should be extending it through 2014. So I'm going to just take that off the agenda. Laura, we have organic food waste, that contract on here for tonight, and you still want us to do that, right? That's all set and no problems? Or do you want to? The organic food waste. Do you need, Carol said that you had sent it to us. I just wanted to make sure that there's nothing to change with the contract that has to do with the pickup for the organic food waste?
They had, actually, they never signed it.
Okay, so you want us to take this off for tonight for now? Okay, so we'll take that off. Okay, and then we need to add on, just to finish up from last night, some of the things from the organizational meeting, the Parkland Fund, we held off to approve tonight, the safety policy that we're going to put into the reorg meeting, and the water rates. So that just needs to get added from last night. So,
What, the water rates and...
we had the water
What was the
water
one?
sewer rates, we
Yeah.
had the MDS safety policy.
Okay.
That we,
That was it.
MSDS. But you told me to, you told me to take the S out today when we were working on it. So it's back to it's the, okay, so it's the SDS now, not the MSDS. Okay, so just, we're going to revise the safety policy for the SDS, and we just have to approve the Parkland Fund tonight after a conversation Gina and I had with Stacy. So, with that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda
Do I have a second?
as amended.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Okay, it is now time for public input for the regular meeting, not the public hearing on the police commission, but if anybody would like to speak on some issue outside of the police commission, just public, and you're here for another reason. Why don't you go up, though, so the microphone, so the TV hears you.
It's pretty short.
Okay. You are? Oh, so, well, it was nice to see you tonight, Howard, anyway.
The back of my house is on the Boys Club 32. And the traffic there is like people flying up that road just to get to that one-stop sign on
Prospect.
Prospect. And they're flying up that road like 50, 60 miles an hour. And myself and my two daughters sometimes cross that road to walk our dogs over there, over by the little park by the pool area. And I almost got run over twice walking my dog. People, because they drive unconsciously up that road. And I brought this up a couple of times in the village, and just nothing ever happened. They don't put a sign, slow down the traffic, they don't do anything. So I guess they're just going to wait till somebody gets run over and killed before they do it. Usually it takes like 2 or 3 people to get killed before they do it. So I just want to bring that up.
Okay, thank you. Well, we do have a police officer here listening, so he might get on his motorcycle tomorrow and drive up and down that road a little bit.
Going uphill with speed or downhill with speed? And there's a lot of stop signs on that road, but there isn't one in between 32 and that stop sign. big stretch, but people racing, it's just the biggest stuff.
Weather dependent off those speed signs.
Yeah. It's a good thing you came tonight, Howard. See how well we take care of our constituents?
I know, there's a woman who thought that, I don't know what she told us, but what's her name, right over there. That was one of them.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak? Pete?
I'd like to ask
No. No, just lift it.
No, we can hear you.
Okay?
Yeah.
No, it's on, but pick it up more, so.
I'd like to ask the town board to increase the veterans exemption amount that can be deducted. 35,000 to 60,000. Ulster County, the exemption is 60,000. In several towns, in other words, it's a maximum that can be subject. And just hasn't been done. I mean, see it comparative to the county, $60,000. Not
I can't believe they didn't do it.
Probably a couple hundred. What the cost is, I have no idea, but that's coming here to do it. Guy comes on, I think he asked me. I'm here on behalf of the VFW, the American Police Department.
And I'm sorry, Pete, so you're just asking for a 15,000 increase in the exemption from 45 to 60? So you're just saying 15,000 more on our current exemption?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 15K increase.
Maximum allowed by state, 60,000.
Okay, and we're at 45.
County's already doing it. We're only doing it at 45. But several other towns have taken the maximum at 60,000. That's all you can do. And besides that, the school district has to do it
Yeah,
in
no.
the next few weeks because we just got legislation passed where the school district can. Before this, it wasn't allowed, but now the school district. I'm just asking on behalf of the town to increase the exemption.
Right. So Pete, just so you do all know that Pete did come in to speak with me about it. I asked him to come and present it to the board tonight, but it is on the agenda for next week.
Great.
Okay?
But
Thanks, Pete.
doesn't it
Thank you.
require a resolution, or it requires a legal thing, doesn't it?
No,
No?
resolution
Oh,
by the
right.
board.
A resolution,
Oh, yeah.
a legal resolution, not a
All
motion.
resolutions are legal.
No, I don't mean a vote,
No,
a
she means an
motion.
actual
I mean,
resolution.
a resolution from Joe Moriello is what I mean.
I turn around and say, I hereby move that the exemptions for the town be increased from 45,000 to 60,000. Take it into Lori, that's it.
However,
I've
regardless.
done it 100 times when I was chairman of the legislature. It's done. It's very simple. Let's get over it. So,
It's going to be the Pizza Vega resolution.
There you go.
But I can check, Jean,
Whatever.
with our assessor about if it needs, but we did meet today with Pete, myself, and the assessor, because I was looking at the numbers and I couldn't understand.
I'm just
some-
thinking how
yeah.
you get it off the tax roll if you don't have something
you what?
more than that.
She's saying that she doesn't understand how you get it off the tax rolls if you don't have something more
And you get it
than
off
it's,
the what?
how you get that off the tax roll, that exemption off the tax roll, if you don't have something more legal
Right.
than just a
How would-
resolution.
Go off the tax roll.
Yeah, you would need to,
She pushes a button on the
yeah,
computer
okay.
and takes it off.
Never mind, never mind.
But no, you
Never mind.
have to have a resolution from the board,
Yeah.
and that's all you have to have. You are the legal authority for the town of Newport. That's all. Simple as that.
It won't go into effect till next year anyway, because he's already paid his taxes.
No,
Well, you
the
paid your school
increase-
tax.
No, before March 1st,
Uh-huh,
and then it'll come off this year also, well,
yeah. It'll come off your,
but it has to be done by March 1st. Simple
Right.
resolution, that's all it is.
right.
And then the assessor takes it up.
Anyway, it's on the agenda for next week, so any questions that we have, Jean, we can check out, but it's on the agenda for next week. Okay?
Yep.
Everybody okay? Thank you, Pete. Thank you for your service to the country, and enjoy Florida. Anybody else like to speak? The woman in the back? Yeah. Bye, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
My name is Joan Bender, and I did email this to the Planning Zone Board, but I think it might be relevant with you guys as well. there was contaminated soil and water. The soil test revealed that arsenic and dieldrin, which is a PCB, exceed the Environmental Protection Agency limits. And that report is online at Tim Sealer soil testing results under the FEIS Appendix O. The PCB dieldrin is a banned pesticide that is highly persistent in the environment and is a probable human carcinogen by the U.S. EPA. That's what they consider it anyway. So there's soil remediation that they put in there. I'm talking about Wilmerite, I guess, when I was reviewing all the plethora of documents. They talked about their bioremediation program consisting of using either 1, paved surfaces, 2, site grading where soil is removed, and polyethylene put in to cover it up, and then a layer of clean soil put on top, and 3, warning barriers made of polyethylene in gardening and residential areas. Just so you know, polyethylene is a fancy word for plastic sheet. So in layman terms, what they're basically saying is they're going to dig up some soil, put down a plastic sheet, and put some soil on top. And I would ask you, if you were going to build a house, would you want to build it on land with PCBs and toxins in it, soil and water? If you did, would you just remove a few inches of the soil, put plastic on it, and add a new layer of soil, and then spend millions of dollars building a home on top of that? I don't think most people in this room would, but also there is another issue. There's all sorts of legal liabilities with this project. If you were a homeowner next to a construction site and then there's stormwater, like a thunderstorm, and there's stormwater runoff that had PCBs and arsenic in it, how happy would you be about that? I can send you guys a copy of this if you have an email. I guess I can ask for the official email afterwards, but property owners should be aware that under CERCLA and equivalent state laws that the current owner of a contaminated site and the owner of the site where contamination occurred are identified as parties responsible for cleaning up the contaminated site, even if it wasn't their fault. And I have references for everything I'm telling you here. I'm not like making this stuff up. The PCBs exceeded the EPA guidelines in the water sample tests. Total PCBs, the Park Point site were only less than 0.4. A safe level is 0.1 micrograms per liter, and that's from Eric Copolino, his website. Also, EnviroTest Laboratories for Miller Hydrogeologics report for Wilmerite. They did run 2 tests on the water samples called 505 and 525, but they should have run more because the PCBs were in there. They should have run a test 508A in addition, which I didn't see any report of that. So there's a lot of fancy long words that were in these reports, and it took me a lot of time to because I didn't really know what they meant, but then when I did a lot of research, I found out there's a link on EPA that lists PCBs, because they all have different names. They're called AROChlors, A-R-O-C-L-O-R, AROChlor, thank you. So here are some of the names that were found in the water. Something called toxaphene chlorobiphenyl. And in the report, it did show that it exceeded a 150 limit. It showed that it was high at a 186 in sample TW1. And also it showed toxaphene tetrachloroethylene. I'm sorry, I have to email you this. So then there's a couple other ones also that exceeded limits. They were contaminants. Simazine, basically 2 different kinds of simazine. And then also the second water sample also had similar toxins and PCBs in them. And then the water samples not only showed the PCBs, that's bad enough, but it said arsenic and barium and nickel, but especially arsenic is not good. It had on the
You know, I apologize. I would love you to email us this.
Okay.
But just in addressing the town board here, what is it that you're asking that the town board address here?
Sure,
So, I mean,
by all
definitely
means.
email that to us, but
Okay.
to read through it is not making me. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short. Okay, there's financial liability here is my point. Like, I know there's been a big deal about this whole pilot thing, and we don't want the taxes, and I totally, can understand that. But this is, you could get taxed anyway, okay? Because if there's an environmental disaster like there was 20 years ago, and on the Sierra website, Eric Copolino said there were damages of $35 million that the taxpayers had to pay because SUNY New Paltz, there was a disaster on their campus because they did not have on 5 of their PCB transformers the proper electrical protection. So when there was an electrical surge, these PCBs spilled everywhere. And not only that, during the cleanup, they forgot twice to turn off the water, so then there was more contamination. So 6 buildings were contaminated. $35 million, upwards of $35 million. So, I mean, besides this whole pilot thing, we're talking about big liability. And I understand they want to build on that land, but if they want to build on that land, I would say try to do a parking lot or something, not where people are living, not where there's just all liability, not where they're going to be, trying to do the water and all of this stuff. I feel for, especially the Moriello family, because their land, I don't know if the contamination spilled onto their land from this long ago, but it could have, and the contaminants could have been from that. I'm not saying it is, but it's very bad for them that this is on their land. And I still would hope that they could profit, and SUNY New Paltz Foundations, GoShock could profit somehow, but the land should be used for something else, and the taxpayers shouldn't be put at risk. I guess that's my main point here. And soil remediation, what they've talked about, and oh yes, we're going to make it safe for you. I'm skeptical, and so I guess I'll close. I'll say one other thing. If they really want to go ahead with this, maybe they should get environmental insurance that covers this, but I don't know who would insure them when it's got all these contaminants in the soil. So, I don't know if you have an email.
Okay, thank you. If you can, if you could if you want to leave your statement with the clerk, she can share it with us.
Oh,
If you want to, okay?
Okay, thank you for letting me talk.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Andy Weiss-Bartek. I'm a toxicologist, so I'd just like to make a couple comments about the last person who spoke. If Park Point calls that bioremediation, it's a different definition than I had when I went to graduate school. Putting down a piece of plastic and covering it with clean soil is maybe remediation or mitigation. But bioremediation means using Mother Nature to destroy toxic materials. Dieldrin, toxaphene, those things are pesticides, so they were probably applied by the Moriellos on their apple orchards, as is done to the present day in the farms and the orchards all around us that are not organic. So, and also the heavy metals were used as pesticides before the more fancy modern pesticides were developed. So arsenic is maybe no worse than cadmium or any of the other heavy metals. We just are more familiar with arsenic, but heavy metals are toxic. So I would look at just exactly how they're going to, I assume they're going to dig it up and take it to some unfortunate community that will be paid to have it dumped in their secure landfill. In one of my classes, they talked about the EPA set up a state-of-the-art landfill in some poor black community in the South, and it rained that day, and that was it. It was not kept secure. So I would not trust anybody telling you that there's no hazard from from hazardous materials. And if they're underground under a piece of plastic and the water table goes that way, your aquifer goes that way, it just gets moved somewhere else. So if there are people with wells around Park Point, I'd be worried. However, my topic is not pesticides, as interesting as they are. I want to talk about taxes, and that you need to look at who is not paying taxes.
Sorry. Thank you.
I've been paying school taxes for 40 years, although I never had children, and I don't complain about paying school taxes now, because when I was a child, I was put through school by the adults who were paying taxes. It is, however, our greatest tax bill, and I am in the New Paltz Central School District. I'm not in New Paltz, I'm in Gardner. So I happened to find out a while ago that there's a law in the books which says that some nonprofits can be taxed. And I think that you folks need to start that process of determining the eligible nonprofits that should be paying taxes, because they are probably using your services. They are using your fire department, they are using your police, they are using your emergency services, they're using your highway services, and they're not paying for them, which means that the taxpayers of New Paltz have to pay for them. So I think you need to find out and let the taxpayers of New Paltz know in an easy format what are the wholly exempt properties in the town of New Paltz, which I think is 40%, has 40% of your properties are tax exempt, which is pretty stiff, and start a public discussion. Am I wrong about 40%?
I think it's actually more like 60, but go ahead.
It's a village, I think. It's even worse
Well, yeah.
shape than the
Well, it's
town.
even,
I could
but
be
anyway, go
wrong.
ahead. But
So once you know what are the wholly exempt tax parcels and who owns them, then you can start a discussion of which ones should be wholly exempt, and perhaps you need to have them prove that they are doing a benefit to the town that is worth the tax money that everybody else has to pay in the town of New Paltz. Maybe you need a...
If it's okay, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to tell you, just so you know, and then you can keep going if you want. We actually, there is a commission, it's a part of town code, and it's the ICIB. I don't remember the exact, what it stands for, because I left it,
Review,
well, whatever it is, it's the ICIB, it's part of town code.
Industrial and commercial.
Industrial and Commercial Board of Development Board or something. Anyway, there's an ICIB board. It's in part of town code. Last night at our reorg meeting, we actually reconstituted that board. It has direct, it will be somebody from the planning board, the zoning board, town board, two members of our community, the NCB, and its whole purpose is to review everything that you're talking about and everything you're bringing up and what is in the law. So it specifically will be reviewing what's exempt, what's not exempt, what are the laws, what aren't the laws, how can you actually have non-exempts being paying some of the taxes that they might be able to. So we did reconstitute it last night. Kevin Barry is going to chair that committee, and so we are about to undertake what you're talking about. So please feel free to keep going, but I just wanted to let you know that we're already doing
Yeah, that
it.
was going to be my
Okay.
suggestion, that you said...
We already did it.
Get some people to help you out there, because
Okay.
you do have a lot. Now, I went to my Gardner assessor's roll and looked at the end, which is where our wholly exempt properties are, and I have no idea what was written down. So it's very confusing to those of us who aren't assessors. So I would ask that it's listed in a way that people know, can understand who owns it, and perhaps that people who own it can, maybe the next step is then for them to point out what benefits they are giving to the town. And then there needs to be a discussion by the taxpayers if they agree that these people should be wholly exempt. Because there are exemptions for veterans, for senior citizens, for disabled. There are all kinds of exemptions that give partial exemptions. But some properties are wholly exempt, yet they still expect services from the town. And I know the state keeps starving you guys. They keep taking away money. They keep expecting more of you. And now they want to tell you you can't even raise the taxes to pay for them. So you're going to have to start throwing people overboard so that you'll be paying for less and less. So I think you really need to be seeing who has the privilege of not paying and whether they should be not paying. It should have been done a long time ago, but now it hurts enough, I
Right.
think, that the discussion will be there. But thank you very much that you've got it started. And I want to do it in my town, too, because I have no idea how much of my town is taxed.
Well, if you want, I mean, we have to move on, but I mean, if you want to stop at Town Hall tomorrow, we do have a copy of the code. It explains exactly what this commission is, what the responsibilities are. You could take that to Gardner, and then they could technically...
ICIB?
It's ICIB. It's in our town code on the website. And I have it upstairs, I just don't have it down here, because we did it last night. But I'm saying we have a draft of the law that explains it all, what their charge is. You can come pick up a copy of that from us, and you can take it back to Gardner, and then you could give it to your town board to ask them to possibly put this into your code,
Well, we
okay?
don't have the law yet, so.
No, I'm saying you can bring it, that's what I'm saying, you can bring it to them, so you can show them, and they can work from.
I want New Paltz to be the example, as you
Okay.
are other things, like the brine. I want to go and get them to ban the brine on our town roads.
Right.
So it's a lot easier if you guys do all the work first.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, what I'm saying is, all I'm saying is that the law is already written, it's already in a code, I can give that to you
Yes.
if you want to bring it to them, but we're going to start the work anyway, okay?
Yeah, our town
Okay.
was the one that lost the court
Right.
case and tried to tax
Yeah.
Long Preserve. It was not allowed to.
Okay.
And you guys passed the
Yeah.
law, so that's good.
Okay, great, thanks so much for coming out. Anybody else like to speak?
Just quick to remind you the things that I would like to hear discussed in the discussion about the police commission. Just emphasizing what the exact structure is, because from my understanding, the police commission was strictly advisory, and that all decisions are ultimately voted on by the village board after being advised by the police commission. If that is not the case, I would like to know, because according to the town code, it specifically states that it's advisory, and so I would like to just get to the bottom of that, so I and everybody else can understand exactly how that works. And if that's the same regarding weaponry, hiring, discipline, all of those things, or if there's a separate kind of thing, some things the town board votes on and approves, and some things they don't. I would like to know, and also just the reasons why this was done. What are the reasons, and also addressing how the town plans to accommodate. I guess I'd like to know, which you guys probably don't know, we'd have to have somebody from the police commission actually state how much time is put into the work that they do, so that way we know how many hours of work would be added to your schedules, and how you'd be planning on doing that if you are actually taking on. So those are the things I would like to hear discussed. Just throwing that out there. Thanks.
So without just getting into too much answers, okay, because we really do have to move on and stuff, but just let's make it very, very clear. A, the commission hasn't been abolished, and there will be discussion, and so a lot of the thoughts and a lot of the things that were brought up tonight will be discussed by this board. Some of the stuff will be answered. Some new stuff might be brought forward by different board members in terms of what they thought. So again, tonight was just a public hearing. No action has been taken. It was just a motion was made to have a public hearing on the potential of a local law to be adopted to abolish the commission. So nothing's been done, and there will be conversation. But just very quickly, without getting into a lot of details, and I'd be more than happy to sit down and go over the law with you, but just so you do understand, when a town board creates a police commission by statutory authority, all the responsibilities of the town board are given to the police commission, and except pretty much for budget. So we do the budget, and everything else, hiring and firing, and all the decisions, and a lot of decisions that we talked about are made by the police commission. In our particular case, a local law was made because by town law, you can have 3 members of the public be a commission, but the town of New Paltz at one point made 5 members. They kept the responsibility of hiring the chief, hiring the lieutenant, but other than that, and of course by law we have to do the budget, but other than that, all the responsibility for the police department is outside of the hands of the town board and is in the hands of the police commission. So I just want to state that out there as fact, and then the conversation we'll have probably next week, because it's starting to get late. We have to meet with George, we have some other stuff that we have to do, and it'd probably be better to have the discussion when Kevin's here. Okay? Is there anybody else? Yeah.
Sorry, so you won't be discussing it.
I don't think we'll probably have, at this point, since it's already 8:30, we have to meet with George, and then we have other actions to take. I would suspect at this point, we'll probably move the discussion next week on the police commission and where we go and what we do, if we even take action then, okay? Anybody else like to speak? Erwin?
Good evening, and I'm going to be exceedingly brief, because part of what I was intending to say was aimed at you good people doing what you did without my needing or others needing to rave on about it, namely to establish this or reconvene this IDIC. All I would like to add in the way of a kind of a, perhaps a cultural footnote is this, that the town and the village of New Paltz, and I believe this is the case for the other towns in the foothills of the Shangungs, taxpayers are reaching a point where, as you know, are more and more finding it difficult to carry the tax burdens, and what these tax burdens really amount to is a kind of a mutilated form of welfare socialism for the very rich. There are a number of entities here that move millions, sometimes tens of millions of dollars around, the way you or I might want to splurge on a movie and a dinner in one of the fine eateries in town, and they certainly can afford to pay their fair share of taxes, given that they do indeed utilize our fire services, our police, highways, and so forth. And I think the same point holds for the pilots. That is to say, while at first glance, the issuing of pilots and the issuing of tax exemptions, for example, for the affluent conservancies here in the Mid-Hudson and here up in the mountains, the pilots and tax exemptions appear at first glance to be totally different issues. In reality, they both have to do with the same thing, namely that ordinary homeowners and taxpayers are burdened with subsidizing very wealthy entities, and there's a real issue of economic justice and community democracy here that I think needs to be very thoroughly re-examined, and I think you are doing the step you're taking is excellent, and I think it shows vision and courage and integrity, and I think it would be a good example for all of the towns here in the foothills, Rochester and Gardner and Marbletown, Rosendale, and so forth, to follow suit, because see, when the taxpayers don't have to do those kinds of subsidies of these currently tax-exempt areas, which are massive in scale, the amount of property that's off the tax rolls, then ordinary taxpayers will have a little more money to spend in the community, and instead of the wealth being siphoned off in effect by these various entities, whether it's Wilmerite here or the Mohawk Preserve there or the OSI somewhere else, the fact is that that money, by being in the hands of ordinary folks like ourselves, really help to promote the local economy. So in effect, what you're also doing is a fine service on behalf of an economic stimulus. And I
just
wish
got
you
to
well.
thank you. Thanks, Ira, very much.
And I just want to be clear also, the point of the Incentive Review Board is not to look to tax entities that come into our community to support our community or that are providing a great asset to our community. It's more to tax items such as, you gave a good example, Wilmerite, which is a large for-profit corporation which is providing a very distinct service to a very small populace. This is not a review board being put together to look to tax open space in our community. That was not the intent of the review board, and it's not what the review board is being set up for, nor why it was created.
Well, I think,
So I just want to make it clear to everyone that, you know, this is the, and we've already done your public comment. So I just want to make everyone clear that this is something that's been on our,
no, well, no, it's okay.
no, this has been on, this law has been on our books for quite a long time, and it's on our website, and we've always had it. We just haven't seated the board in quite a while. while. The purpose of the board is to look to make sure that we are getting fair tax and that we're able to invite corporations to come into our community and pay their fair share of tax. It is not a board to go out and then look to say, we have tax-free properties in our community that provide no good to our community, so we're going to tax them. That is not what these are set up for anywhere in New York State or anywhere in the United States. So I just want to make it clear, so if you're looking for this to be a board that is going to go out and try to tax entities within this community and that share many other communities that provide tremendous services, and the reason why people come to these communities, that is not the vehicle.
Anyway, we do,
I just wanna make that clear.
time out.
I just wanna
Okay,
make that
it's
clear.
really, it's not a time, this is not a time.
Well, I made it very clear, because I
Wait.
raised your IRA, and the
Well,
reason
Ira
being
and
is
Jeff,
because-
Ira and Jeff, it's okay,
you
it's
know,
okay.
And that's the reason, well, no, that is not okay.
No,
It's
no,
not
what I'm
okay.
trying- no, what I was gonna say
I want
is-
everyone to understand the purpose of why this was established a long time ago, and why these are established all over, not only
There's-
Hudson.
What law are you talking about? The law that says that you can tax certain categories of nonprofits, or a law about pilots and other things?
Let's let her speak, yeah. Yes, so that is exactly what we're doing. So, again, this is something that's trying to bring in corporations and developers into our community. Thank you. This is what we're trying to do, is bring in, corporations that will come into our community and pay a fair share of tax. Wilmrite would be a good example to this. So that is the intent of having this board. So thank you very much.
Andy, Ira, I will give you a copy of the law. It's very specific. There's laws that are on the books. At the end of the day, for this board, all I can just say is very, very, very serious about holding down taxes. We've decreased taxes 2 years in a row. We cut over $1.5 million from the budget, so we're very, very aware. I lobby up in Albany all the time on property tax reform, so I get it, okay? And I think everybody here understands it. We're not going to get into the specifics, but there are laws on the books that we have to live and abide by, but there might be ways we could be taking more advantage of understanding the taxation of non-for-profits and who takes exemptions and who doesn't. So within the law, this committee establishes guidelines to analyze the taxing law and have a better sense of who pays taxes and who doesn't, and where we can go from there. But I will give you the law, it's very specific, and you could read it, and I just don't think we should get into a discussion at this point of what the purpose is, okay? So would anybody else like to speak before we close public comment, do some announcements, and get to our meeting? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Okay. Wait, we gotta, no, the public hearing for that's over, sorry. But you can write something, okay? So, anyway, okay, so with that, we're gonna close public input on that. But we do have announcements. So, the one announcement I will make, and I think Laura brought some more stuff, so if you wanna bring it down, Laura. I did have a meeting that I was invited to today up at the Reuse Center, and if you haven't been out at the Reuse Center in a very long time, you really need to go there because the Reuse Center is quite remarkable. Laura Pettit, who heads up our recycling center, in 2 years since she's created the Reuse Center, and we've started the zero waste community, Laura has taken our solid waste down by 50%, which means the amount of garbage that we throw out is down 50%. So today, up at the recycling center, this bag, you might want to focus on it. This bag, the person goes in, she actually buys the zippers, she gets the fabric, she makes the bag, she resells it at the reuse center. This is a, believe it or not, it plugs in. This is a bottle, a wine bottle, that basically the person comes to the reuse center, she gets the wine bottle, she actually makes it into a planter, she cuts the top, and it actually plugs in.
Oh my
It
God,
actually
it's a
plugs
lamp.
in, it's a lamp.
Oh my God.
A lamp, okay? It's a lamp. I just want people to see what we have. I want you to see what we have. It's so impressive. And then you have to see it, you really do.
Oh my God.
That is a,
Are you bidding bitcoins on that? What was that? Okay, I just want to make sure. That's what's happening.
okay, then what was delivered to, this is a light also. This is a jar, you want to light that up? Okay, Jeff?
Absolutely.
Okay, give that to Jeff. And since Laura brought these, we will give gifts out to whoever's here tonight who wants. There's, okay, there's a company that does work where they need to wear these gloves, but they only wear the gloves on their left hand. So all the right-handed gloves are left over. So instead of throwing them out, they've brought them to reuse center. But what you can do is take and turn it around and wear it upside down, right?
There you go.
And you can still use these gloves. Okay? So this is the kind of stuff that's at the reuse center. It's really quite remarkable. Laura's done an amazing job. Everybody needs to go up and visit. And if anybody would like to take a pair of these gloves before you leave tonight, thank you for coming. This is our gift to you.
And why do they only use the left glove?
Tora.
That company actually manufactures knee replacements. So that they have tubes that have a really cute cap on each end. And the tubes are packaging, so they throw those away. We take those as well. But they need one hand because the work is so precise that they don't put a glove on it, or at least not that one, so they can put together the knee replacement.
What if they're left-handed?
Oh.
You don't work there.
Well, then they can use a right-handed glove, and we might actually have a pair of gloves in it.
And I think, Laura, before you leave, I just want everyone to understand the impact of the reduction. So the reduction in the waste each has reduced how many pulls each month? And by pull, I mean that we actually take trash away. So
You want to explain that?
what is in a quick fashion, what are we saving by us now reusing and sorting our trash much more effectively?
Well, initially we were sending out about 800 tons. This year we're down to, or 2013, it was about 364 tons.
And 800 tons cost us approximately?
800 tons is $90 a ton.
For us to get rid of our garbage.
Right, which is about a $70,000 a year
Okay,
budget.
and now you've taken 800 tons down to, in
Down to
364.
364. You know, again, at about $90 a ton. We haul it in ourselves, we save some, but there's fuel surcharges, et cetera.
Uh-huh.
So, volume-wise, if you wanted to picture it, each of those 8 by 20 by 6 foot high containers, the 30-yard containers, weigh about 3 tons. So to drop it that much, it's about 100 of those containers a year.
That are not,
Just
not
picture the massive amount of garbage that is now getting diverted. Part of that's education, the way people are looking at things, what they're buying, the amount of material that we do recycle now, and then the amount of material that can be diverted to the reuse center. So we also took in 11 tons of roofing for flat roofs. What's the correct word for that, Chris? Roll roofing. Yeah, so, and that's available. You can fix a roof to a hen house, to a dog house, you know.
When you go up to the recycling center, to the reuse center too, I mean, somebody today was talking about the fact that there was a brand-new microwave, when they get large cartons of things delivered places and they have extra, they have brand-new products, microwaves, brand-new ceiling fans, they have doors for houses, it's really astounding. As I was sitting there today when we were talking, I noticed a bunch of binders, that cost $5.50 if you go to Staples, all of these green binders that we actually use for our bookkeeper. And I looked at them and I said to Laura, oh my God, those are all the binders we buy for our bookkeepers. So, I mean, it's real.
Hard to pick those up, right?
Right, well, I wanted to talk to Arlene before I brought it back. But yes, absolutely. So it's really quite remarkable. People really, really need to go there. It's an amazing program. Laura's doing an astounding job. And I just couldn't resist all this stuff when I saw it today, and I had to bring it here tonight to share with the public.
This is a huge greenhouse gas savings.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's right. I think we mentioned that last December when we were here, because they did approve the Zero Waste Action Plan. And there's a significant amount of savings for keeping it on site or off completely.
And Laura, can you give your address? Just because I think you're a little out of sight there, so people know where you are. Yeah.
I'm a PR person.
Yeah.
We're located at 3 Clearwater Road, which is just 3 miles north on 32. You make a right-hand turn at the ball fields, and you go back 0.6 miles. And we're at the very end, open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 to 4:30. Thank you.
It's really impressive, and everybody should really go.
I'd like to make a comment about that center out there.
What, can you grab him?
She supplied me with a load of
Compost.
for my garden, so it's very good. And it's a source where if you want compost, you can call her up and she'll get it, send it out to you. You've got to pay for it, it's not,
But we do delivery.
Well,
The only comment I could additionally make, though, is that I did get about a 12 plate setting of silverware with it. Now, she tells me a lot of that stuff comes from the college. winding up in my garden, which is fine, but, maybe you want to talk about
So in other words, you get compost, and out of the compost, you get silverware. Great deal. That's terrific. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you, Laura. So that's my announcement for tonight. Does anybody else from the board have an announcement before we get into the meeting?
The only
Show and
announcement
tell. From now on, you all have to do show and tell.
The only announcement.
Laura, I have so much stuff. As much as I love this bag, I have so much stuff.
Give it back to her?
Yeah.
She
Well,
bought the zippers at the reuse center.
Yes, that's what I told everybody.
The only announcement I have is I'd like to remind everyone, January 28th at 7 p.m. out at the New Paltz High School is going to be the public hearing on, please help yourself.
Go ahead.
You're welcome. Is going to be the public hearing from the Ulster County Board on the Wilmerite project being proposed at the SUNY New Paltz, just adjacent to the SUNY New Paltz campus. So I'd encourage everyone to attend that. Again, that will be Tuesday, January 28th at 7 p.m.
Okay, anything else? Okay, with that, so what I would like to do, like I said, I don't usually like to do this in the middle of a meeting, but actually, quite frankly, since we're not going to do the police discussion, all we really have tonight is to really just approve, like a Greenway grant that we already got, the community partnership grant, so it's nothing really controversial that anybody might want to stay to listen to. But I am going to ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of a client-attorney conversation on the pilot for Park Point.
So moved. Motion to go into executive session for exactly those reasons.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take gloves. I
Chris
can
did
I can pick up my dog poop at home with these gloves.
Leave the cameras on and roll it.
Oh.
We're not,
No?
all right.
Good. Does anybody want a pair of gloves? Here, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, so should we, can you hear us with these gloves? Okay,
Okay.
so we're not going to wait for Jeff, because we can just keep moving, right?
What are happening on the agenda here?
Okay, so where we are,
You want to do the stuff from last night?
okay, so I want to do the stuff from last night, the Parkland Fund, the water, and the safety. So let's just do that real, so, thanks, George.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. We'll do,
Did you want to take any gloves with you?
George, this is what they were doing. You see the microphone? All the microphones were like that when we came out. Okay.
Good night. Thank you.
Why don't we just, we'll do this one real fast, the safety program. We worked on the language, and this is what the safety program that we'd like to add to the reorg meeting. All New Paltz town offices that need to comply with PESH guidelines for MDS posting will begin the process of converting paper postings to electronic record keeping. That's for you,
So
Rosanna.
moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Okay, we have the water, everybody got their water and sewer rates? This is, Chris, the March 21st, right?
Yes.
That's the most recent, so we just need to,
Where do you see Mar, I got March 22nd, 2013. Oh, you're looking up there, I'm looking down here. Okay. So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Okay, the Parkland Fund, yes, it is. It's what we put into the reorg meeting is what was in the fee. So I don't know in the future, the reason why the Parkland might have gotten taken out was because maybe when it got increased, because if it's in the planning board fees, we don't really have to be doing it in the reorg meeting.
Right.
So they're part of the planning board fees.
It's on the back
Of the planning board fees. So we're adopting the planning, I want a motion to adopt the planning board fees, including the Parkland Fund as presented by the building inspector.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so carried.
Aye.
Okay, so that's the cleanup from last night,
Okay.
okay? The IMA is basically what we approved, what this is, Dan, is, you know that we entered into an agreement with the town and the village to do a joint master plan. We approved a contract, we also approved you got copies, they were put in your box, everybody's box, because we,
Okay, hold on.
okay, so what we did was, we approved an IMA as a resolution, and then a couple of meetings later, we made a couple of changes to how we were actually going to be doing the payment. And so the IMA we didn't incorporate the changes, they were just in the minutes, they weren't in the actual agreement. But more importantly than that was the actual term, that in the minutes it said that we would bill the village, we'd pay in full, you know, each month or whatever, when we get the bill, we would pay it and then we'd bill the village. It didn't say we would pay the village, the village would reimburse it 50%. The 50% was left off. So our bookkeeper, who is so fantastic, we're supposed to be writing the first check, giving it to billing the village the half, and so she could not write the full amount of $10,000 that we're supposed to give him, because she had nothing in writing that said the village would reimburse us 50%, so she couldn't send the bill to the village, because she had no backup, and so what we did today was, we took the language out of the contract that specifies exactly how we're paying, which were the amendments in the minutes, and then we just made that one addition that said the village will be paying us 50% upon being billed by the town. So that's what this is. So Katie, the village clerk, made the changes. She got me back a copy. We pass it tonight, and the village will pass it on Wednesday. And it's really just housekeeping, because we already signed the contract. And this is really to execute the payment, so we're trying to clean up some loose ends. And because we couldn't do the full 10 and bill the village, we're only doing the $5,000 check tonight in the warrant, and then next week, when this is adopted by the village board, then she'll write the check and we'll approve it next week, but it's outside the warrant. So that's what this is all about. Okay? So, if Jean has no problems,
So this is all we added? We didn't have that?
what we did was we added, this is what was in the contract. So the IMA, the original
That was
IMA,
there, so-
the original IMA just had the way we were going to spend, we were going to pay him was different than what we ended up agreeing to when we knew he had to get the insurance, and we wanted to pay him up front for the insurance. So, pay him up front before we got the insurance, so we could buy the insurance. So what we did was we took the language out of the contract and put it into the IMA instead of having the old language, that wasn't in the contract. So we just took out what was no longer true, put in what was true, and then added that 50% reimbursement that wasn't in the IMA or the contract. So we just had everything, although it's in the minutes that that's what was agreed to. So everything's agreed to, everything was done, it's just that we had the contract, the IMA, and then we also had minutes that amended stuff, didn't amend the contract itself. You get it, Dan, right? Nobody's confused?
No, I'm with you.
You okay, Jean?
Yeah, there's just no date.
Okay, we can amend this
So so that, there's no date in here. And I know it's separate from all the minutes of the other thing, but this is part of how we ended up with this problem today, that we had to
Okay,
add that.
so you want to add on to the bottom?
Or just, if you would put it over here.
Okay,
Like
so you want to say...
Susan dated and then Jason dated.
Okay. So if you authorize me to sign this right now, I'm authorized through, we already signed this, and this is already done. I'm asking for it to be amended so we can
Is
do
that
the...
what Katie had you sign
Yes.
today? Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with
Well, actually, no, what Katie had me sign today was, we actually authorized me to sign the contract, but the contract was signed December 12th last year, okay? But in order for Kurt to get the insurance company would not give him insurance for a contract that was signed 2 weeks ago. They wanted the contract to reflect the date of the insurance being issued. So all we did was reauthorize the contract with the date to match his insurance. So that's what I signed today.
Okay.
But then when Katie was here, that's what I worked on with Katie, was how to get the IMA to also reflect what we need so the payment could be made. And Arlene has the proper paperwork, and the village clerk has the proper paperwork to back up, Nancy Bracco has the proper paperwork to back up for the controller, them making their payment. Okay, so what we'll do, Jean, is if you make the motion and we second it, we do it, then I'll sign it and I'll date it right now.
Okay, I make a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign the resolution to commence the joint comprehensive planning payment to the planner, and I would like to add the date.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second. Dan's got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Rosanna, just for now, because we're always,
Do you want mine?
no, I want to give her mine's
Oh.
original signature, just at least for now, even though we'll get,
Because
we have to get
can't trust you
Jason's.
with originals?
No, we always like,
Sign two originals,
Sign two originals?
please.
there's two originals, although we have to get
Alright, then you
Jason's
can have
signature,
that
but,
I will drop one off for Jason to sign.
okay, great.
Actually, I'll drop both of them off so each of them will.
Okay, we're trying to make sure that we always have originals with, these are all the things we're trying to do to make sure everything's being done right. Okay, the Greenway grant, we all know that we got a Greenway grant to do the bike ped flats, to start a planning process to get a bike path across the street from the Walk Hill Farm, and so all I'm asking is for you, we finally got the paperwork from the Greenway, so I'm just asking for motion to authorize me to sign it.
So moved.
Second?
Yeah, is the match 8,500 as it states in here, or is it half?
No, the match is actually in kind. The match is, whatever the match is, it's in kind from us by Chris doing stuff, and the cash is $5,000. I think it's five, that the Open Space Institute actually is coming up with the cash. We're just coming up with in kind. So here's the, it is approving $8,500 and matching grant from the town, and our matching grant is, like I said, the town's not coming up with any money, the Greenway's coming up with the money, and we're just doing in kind with Chris doing, some of Chris's time is the in kind. Total in kind, $1,670, which is for the foreman, at, foreman's rate of pay for whatever. Town highway, actually, the town highway department cash contribution towards a consultant is $1,000. Mohonk Preserve cash contribution to a consultant, $2,500. OSI cash contribution consultant is $5,000. But our cash is really actually the guy's time, right? Yeah. So you're putting $1,000 in from your budget for the engineering? Okay. Any more questions?
No, there's
Okay,
a
so then I-
second page for you.
Well, I have all the originals in here. Those are just copies for you. This is the,
Paul
Okay.
Greenway.
this is a,
Second,
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Community partnership, this is the fourth year? Is this the fourth year? Fourth year of a $500,000 drug-free community grant. They've been doing an amazing job. The whole board and Phoenix are doing a phenomenal job in terms of educating and dealing and putting programs in place to deal with drugs and teenagers in this community. So they have to put in their new grant, which is pretty much the same as their old grant with a couple little things here and there. Jean reviewed the whole entire thing, worked with Phoenix on it. And unless Jean has anything else to add,
Phoenix did it.
Phoenix did it all. Phoenix is amazing. She knows how to do this stuff. So, but Jean reviewed it and stuff, so I'd just like a motion to authorize me to sign it, because it's got to be signed tonight, because she's got to get it out tomorrow.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
And just for a quick discussion also, is let's add in that the federal person came down.
All right.
And rated this as probably one of the best programs that she has seen in a long, I know you actually got to meet with
Yeah.
federal people, and they couldn't speak highly enough of the program, of Phoenix, and actually took a few things away from it that she was going to share with other programs too. So Phoenix is just doing an incredible job on this, and I believe is making a difference in our community.
Absolutely. So we made a motion, a second, and all in favor with gratitude?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Okay, the Loop Bus contract is just what we do all the time. This is for the gas that the college contributes to the Loop Bus. We actually just approved the 2013 one formally, almost last meeting or something, but now we have the 2014, and we're getting this done on time. So it's in consideration of the expanded shuttle service that's being provided pursuant to December 1st 20 agreement between the town of New Paltz and Ulster County Area Transportation, the college will provide an in-kind contribution of fuel in the support of expanded services. Those agreed pursuant to TNP and UCAT. They will provide, the college will provide not to exceed 600 gallons of fuel per month. The contribution is a continuation of the in-kind service that's been provided since January 2009. The extension of this in-kind service commences January 1st, 2014, and will continue until December 31st, 2016. And then it goes on and on. Would you like me to read more, or just have
So
a...
they're going to give us fuel,
Same as they always have.
but they're not going to, now we're not going to bill them for,
No, this is independent.
Oh,
of
this
the-
is separate?
totally, it's a
Okay.
separate agreement we've always done with the fuel that we've been doing for years.
okay, so moved.
Do I have a second?
And second, and I think just, we need to keep this in mind too, because I noticed Hector did bring up that they would like to expand the loop services, and there's a cost attached to that, and part of that cost would be more petrol being
Yeah.
needed, and
Well, right now, actually, if they, right now, the only way that we could, the expanded service is actually not increasing it, it's dropping off a pickup. You have to keep it within the hour. The college insists that it has to be in an hour for the loop to work for the students. And so there's a pilot program that they might do for Woodland Pond, but what would be that a stop once a week would not happen. They'd go to Woodland Pond instead, so they're actually
it
not...
increased a couple miles though. I looked at it.
Well, maybe because it's going
increasing.
from up to Woodland Pond as opposed to going down
Instead
by...
of making- when it leaves Stop and Shop, it would then
Right.
it would go up, make a left, go out to Woodland Ponds, loop
Right.
through Woodland Pond, and return.
right.
So it does increase a
Yeah.
bit, but we'll
Anyway,
see.
well, once we do that, when that
take
gets
a look.
negotiated, we can always negotiate an increase
more
in the...
money,
Right, exactly.
absolutely.
So did we make the motion second and we all voted?
So we took care of that already.
Okay. Okay, so,
No, we have to take a vote, though.
that's what I said, we didn't do the vote?
Oh.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Okay, we've got the rescue squad contract, but I don't know
Can
if...
we hold that off with
well, I
Kevin
was-
here and?
Yeah, well, what I was going to say was that I that I wanted to make some changes anyway. Not make changes. What, in the contract, and you guys all got copies because we just, I know you don't have, because I wanted to make changes. First of all, the Village of Newport doesn't belong in here, so that needs to come out, because the agreement's between the town and the rescue squad, not the village. They added in the $25,000 into the contract, which we sort of suggested, but the $25,000 is a little bit more dependent on the village and all that, which we need to talk to, because that needs to get worked out. So what I want to do is really just tell them to take this contract, take out the village, and then just put it in for the 145,957, and we'll deal with the 25,000 independently. So we can get this signed next week. We can get it into the queue to pay them in March, but we have to deal with the other 25,000 with the village at another time, sooner than later, before the village budget goes into effect. But I would like to... Really
They
what?
didn't agree?
Village, no.
They didn't agree to do what we did?
No, it never got to that point of the village taking it on. They just asked us to do it, and they asked us to do it and put in the whole 50, and then they would revisit it. We put in the 25, depending on them putting in the other 25. And then there was supposed to be the subcommittee of, I don't remember who through the town. I know that Sally voted, Sally said she would do it from the village. I think, Jeff, you said,
Yep.
was it you and Kevin again?
Yep.
So it was Kevin and Jeff and Sally, and I think Ariana, well, that was supposed to get together to review this, but at the end of the day, you were supposed to go, Jean, to...
No, she's good. We're good.
We're good.
We'll be good.
Okay.
We'll be good.
Okay.
We'll get
So what
this
I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask them, I'm going to reformat this, just do the 145,957, which has always been our contract. Let us approve it next week, because that's what we do with the ambulance. The 25,000, we could try to settle that, but we could do that in a separate contract. So that's what my preference would be, so I'll hold off till next week. Okay?
Okay, you don't want to just amend this?
Do you want to do that and approve it tonight? We could do
I'd
that.
like to,
Well, we're just doing the contract itself, the
yeah,
standard
let's
contract.
put it all up till next week, Gene, instead of amending it right now.
Okay.
We'll just do it next week, because it's not, the first payment's not due till March 1st, so we have plenty of time.
Okay, so we'll put this on for next week. And then the only other thing we have is the USIA video contract for the people who are filming us right now, so they can continue to film us for the rest of the year.
Turn it off if we deny it right now. Just in a couple of minutes.
I don't know, it's getting close to 11 o'clock, so he's going to turn it off anyway, but I think if we want him to be here next Thursday, we might have to approve the contract. If you want to do it tonight, you want to do it next week, whatever you guys want to do.
We can approve it now.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the USI video contract?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jean, you and I looked at it when we did the budget, so we used the contract for the budget. Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carried.
And while we're on that, it's at the pleasure of the board, or we can wait until next week, as long as we're on USIA video, is for the IDA meeting.
Oh, about having
Can
them...
we film that?
Oh,
And the
yes.
reason is the reason I'd like to get the approval, it's $135 to film, it's $60 to put it online, so it would be a total of $195. We actually were missing some meetings we had budgeted for in December. And actually, we missed a meeting in January. There's one less. There was not a PC meeting in January. So if you want to go into this budget year, we're already, one meeting we had budgeted for
So,
is not
okay.
happening.
So just make a motion.
So I'd like to make a motion that the town board, pay for the filming of the Ulster County IDA meeting out at the high school on Tuesday, January 28th, for $195.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? You're thinking. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motions are carried. The only other thing we have to do before we do the minutes and the prepays is when we hired Adrian Jacob at the landfill, we were asked by Laura to do a month trial, and then we would make him full-time, and Laura asked us to, she said he's working out phenomenal, he's great, and she asked us to now make him full-time. So I'm just asking the board to, we sort of already approved it when we approved him, and that's actually in the minutes that we're going to be approving tonight. It actually says that this is what we were going to do. So the month is up. She asked us to make him full-time, and I said I had to just come back to the board so we could get into the minutes, that we're actually now going from the part-time to the full-time at $15.61 an hour.
Is that the correct rate and everything?
Yeah, that's in the minutes that we're approving tonight, which is what we approved him at. And if you look at the minutes, Jean has them in front of, do you have them, Jean?
This is, I got it right
Yes,
here.
yes.
This is the 19th minutes?
The ones we're approving tonight.
Can't because Kevin's not here.
Right.
Well, Kevin
It's
wasn't at
only
the meeting, and see, we figured,
No, he came late. Or no.
he wasn't there for the whole meeting, right?
left early. Then that means
Well,
can't
we
approve
actually,
it.
we just actually talked about that. I
No,
figured
we
that.
can't approve it because we're not, we need,
No, I know, I realize
but
that.
we need Kevin here to approve it. You and
The
I can't
question-
do it. A vote of two does not approve minutes.
I know, but, well, Kevin, if Kevin
Theoretically,
wasn't,
though, I mean, it's just courtesy to abstain. I mean, I think she should abstain because I was not a board member, but if Jean wanted to vote yes, I mean, she can do that.
I was not present.
You and I'm just saying, or we could just table it till the next.
We can table it
well, the
until
question is, if Kevin wasn't there for the whole meeting, will Kevin approve it also, or he'll say I
Yes.
wasn't there?
he can,
Okay. So,
left
because we were talking about that, and I was saying technically, they're really your minutes, and in a way, it's like, I mean, I guess by board resolution, we do have to approve and accept them, huh?
Yeah, but even if you can't get them accepted, there's still Rosanna's minutes, and
Right.
she's still going to book them.
Right.
Book them, baby.
So, I mean, we could wait for Kevin, but because Kevin wasn't at the whole meeting, and only
he
Jeff
can
and I
do,
were
but
at
he
the whole
can, but
meeting.
as Dan was saying, as a
Right, but you could
courtesy,
get-
he can still approve it. You don't
Right.
have, you abstain.
Dan could.
No,
Kevin
Oh,
could.
good.
Because
Yeah.
you abstain as a courtesy because you weren't there for the complete
Okay,
meeting, but you
okay.
can vote on anything.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the only thing that I will say, though, Rosanna, is there's only one little correction that you might want to make before we do them next week anyway, is, it's just, it's on the second page. Second page? Yeah. Second page at the bottom, local law, on the local law, where it says a motion was made by Councilman Logan for the town board to constitute the police commission as of January 31st. It should be until, that's right. Oh, no, it's correct.
correct.
That's actually, it's correct. I'm sorry, I read it wrong. Okay. I don't think there's any corrections. So I'll go away for next week. Okay, and so then it's really just the warrants, prepays, and the budget transfers and modifications.
What about this organic food waste
We know
agreement?
Laura said to take it
Oh,
off because the hauler never signed it last year. And I do have one question while we get ready to do the warrants. What we've tried to do, because we're, is, Carol does sends everything to you electronically, and Carol also posts it. So some board members, like Jeff, comes with his computer. Kitty used to come with her computer, so we didn't make packets for them. We always make a packet for Jean. If the board, Dale, would you like a complete packet? Would you like to look at it online and then print out what you think you need or want? Like what I did tonight was, even though you had the rescue squad sent to you, because I knew I wanted to make amendments, I printed off copies for everybody so you'd have it in front of you, because we were going to be specifically talking about, making changes and stuff. So if you want packets, Carol will make the packets. If you don't, she won't. We just want to know who wants packets and doesn't. She always makes a packet for Jean.
I want a packet on Tuesday.
We always know Jean wants a packet.
Done.
Okay, do you want a packet, or you want it online, or what?
I mean, I can do it offline. When we were on the school board, they'd give it to us digital, and then when we'd show up, we'd have it physically
Okay,
there.
okay, so if you want to make your copies, you'll make your own copies?
I can do that.
Okay.
I'll save some tax dollars.
Or,
Okay.
or if you ask Carol, she will gladly print anything. If I've emailed her and say, could you print it up, she'll gladly email it. She'll gladly print it and shove it in your box for you.
Well, she's making the packet, she's got to make it for
Yeah.
me, because I have everything here in paper
But
to
if
do
you
it.
just want a couple
So if you
things-
want the packet, she'll make it for you, but if you want to,
It's
Because
like,
you're reading this stuff and you don't need to have a copy, it's up to you.
for example, the grant, if you want to read the grant, it's 26 pages, you don't want to print it at home, just call Carol or send her an email, and she'll gladly print it for you and put it in your mailbox.
Or it's online and we
Yeah,
don't
it's
have to necessarily
online, yeah.
print the grant because,
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think I'm good looking at it online.
okay, and then if there's anything you want, just
Yeah.
let us know. But like, in other words, like, for example, again, like, I don't think I made copies of the grants for everybody because that's a lot of pages for you to authorize me to sign a grant. We might make certain copies for certain people to look it over because that's their domain, and so, whatever. Okay, so,
To vote on the recycling person?
I thought we did. Oh, because I was looking for the minutes. Right, I'm sorry, thank you. In the
Just,
minutes,
when you want to check that that rate was correct.
yeah, that's where I got the rate from. I looked at the
Get a
minutes.
little distracted.
That's how I found the rate, because I looked in the minutes. Okay, right here. A motion was made by Councilman Logan to hire Adrian Jacob at the recycling center part-time at a rate of $15.61 per hour for a one-month trial, at which time he will be offered to full-time. Seconded by Councilwoman Brown. All votes cast, motion carried. Now, so we technically had it in here that after a month, she could promote him. I just told her that I wanted to put it onto the agenda, so we took a motion, and it was in the minutes, and it was recorded for record-keeping purposes of when this guy was hired full-time and whatever.
That's a good idea, when he was hired full-time.
Right.
That'd be in the minutes.
I thought that was a good idea, and I thought you'd be very happy,
Right,
and
because you're going to
so...
have to do a pink.
Right,
Okay,
so that's why we're doing it,
all right.
and that's why it's
Good
on the
job.
agenda. Thank you.
Fine job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
Good job.
Okay, so will somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Would somebody like to second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Terrific. Laura said he's doing a great job. Okay, so that's that for that. So now we're up to warrants, prepays, budget transfers, and modifications.
I'm going to crash driving around the corner.
Jean, is there anything I might be able to answer, or I may not be able to? Or anything you want to change, move?
Well, Jeff,
Shoot, and I will do my best.
what did these vouchers look like that are, oh, Rosanna, what is the highways petty cash?
Chris? 250.
250, okay. So if the highway's petty cash is 250, why are they getting $350 in reimbursements on a $250 petty cash? I'm just saying, this is one of the reasons why I thought there should only be one petty cash.
And what page are you on there?
I'm on page 16,
Thank you.
but the petty cash fund
Take a
in
look.
the highway department is $250. How is it that you can replenish it at
At
$350?
$350.
Because how
I
could you
take a
have expended another $100? Anyway,
But why would that come out of petty cash per se? It's reimbursed, I mean, we have that in the budget to reimburse the highway guys for...
highway.
No, no, I understand that, but I'm
Okay.
saying we have it in the budget in the highway for meals when the guys are
Yeah,
out.
are the diners in
Oh,
here?
because when you go through them, what it is it's reimbursement. So, in other words, we are reimbursed, some of that money is being used
Yeah.
to reimburse, so it'll be
Right.
back down at
Okay.
$250. So, in
Okay.
other words,
So what was $315? That
the-
exceeds, right there, that exceeds.
because these guys unfortunately all need to eat out on the road when they're plowing all weekend long, so we reimburse meals.
Yeah,
So-
no.
Yes.
Chris and I, yeah,
They-
but Chris
But
and I.
they pull money out of their pocket.
And Chris said you were going to send them, you weren't going to replenish it out of paid cash anymore.
No, that was for boots, we weren't doing that.
Well, the boots it's a good idea, but
That's where the
But there's another voucher in here for the diner. So they go somewhere else to eat and we use petty cash?
they can go wherever they want to.
Okay, so I have a voucher for $315.73, and it says general repairs contractual, petty cash. Does anybody know what that is?
522-511-400, so that would be
General repairs.
general repair, yeah.
$315, petty cash.
We can go up and pull it and find out.
This is, it's not kosher. Anyway, I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
That's page 16.
I agree with you.
Well, we have to get up and we have to look at it and we have to figure it out
All right.
because this is the, this isn't something we can put off till next week because we're closing we're closing December, and it has to be, so we could I can go pull the voucher if,
Then the ones, there's vouchers created in 2014, but they're for 2013 bills. Did you ask how that was going to work? I'm on page 18. I'm under Kimlin Propane.
I believe there was, I know there was at least 2 of them, and I believe they were both from the police. Does that sound correct? Let me get to the right page. I think it was police and
One is police, one is community center. The police is actually a January 1st bill charged to 12/31, and the other one is the community center, which is on a January purchase order. Unless it's dated 2014, just because it was created in 2014.
The last one, the one for the community center,
Yes.
was absolutely dated in 14. All the other ones were all dated in 13. But the one that I signed for community center was absolutely dated for the 14th.
but it was a bill for the, for
For the 14th, that was for gas that was delivered in this month. The other 3, the gas was delivered prior to the end of the year, except although I believe one of them actually is a 1/1/14, but it was actually delivered, I believe, not on New Year's Day, but previous to New Year's Day.
Okay, well then,
So I believe it was, and then one of them goes back, I believe, 2 months or 3 months, and they were just including the 2 of them together.
okay.
So you better study these when you sign them,
Do we know
Dan, in
that?
case you get
And
asked.
when you're signing them, Dan, I'll go through them with you too.
Do we know the impact of
I
these
think Jean
things? Because
signed-
on the
Jean
next
signed it with him.
page,
Go.
all right, on the next page, it's an employee, but it's it's in the middle of the page.
The reimbursements?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, one is for the 2013, one is for the next one is 2014, but it says that it's.
The actual event took place prior to that. That's when the bill was processed and sent. So the actual event of it and billing of it did not occur on 1/1/14. It actually occurred in January, in December.
It occurred in December, and the PO was issued in January.
Well, he got the bill. In other words, he got the individual had the process prior to the end of the year, and then the bill was dated for 1/1.
Okay.
So the individual did not get to work, did not go see anyone
Okay.
on January 1st.
So now, on page 22. I guess I'm gonna have to call her tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Because the chief of police dues,
Yep, that's in the contract.
yes, except I had this voucher last month, okay? And what they wanted to do was pay their 2014 dues in 2013. I said, no, pull it. It has to be paid in 2014.
Yes.
She charged it to 2014, but she used a 2013 voucher.
It had your note still on it, by the way.
It did have my note.
Your note was still on it.
Okay, but what I wanted was a 2014 voucher.
Okay, so I followed your directions on your note, which was not to process this until now, but I did
Did a
not.
good job.
Except for, I did not do a good job because I should have made sure that, you're correct, I should have made sure that was not dated, that was not a 13 voucher, it's a 14 voucher. And I think you're correct. We could email or call her on that tomorrow.
well, let's
But
not-
your note was still on it, definitely.
Okay, well,
I'm with you.
so that's pretty much, all these folded down pages, those are my things.
I'm with you.
The years don't coincide. So I don't know what the impact is, and if she has the ability to correct them, that'd be great. And if she doesn't,
Now, when you say impact, are you concerned about encumbered funds, or?
yes. So, if the funds are, although now I'm very concerned about this highway one, so I need to write that down.
Well, I'm concerned with what you are, and I spoke to her about that today, about I was concerned about encumbered funds because she has to print me up another budget too for some of these lines. At what point can we not transfer funds for last year, Gene?
I think we were
If we
cutting it
need
off
to.
at the end of this month, right?
Oh, you mean
To close-
budget modification?
To
we have to
close
still do it.
2013.
Oh, we got time.
We got time.
It's only the 16th.
Okay, so we are going to need to do that. So I would love it
Yes.
if you could spend some time with her or call her.
And so would she.
And absolutely she would. Because her and I have had this discussion twice this week, and we had it again today. And yes, there are encumbrances we do need to move for funds to correct 2013.
Has anybody noticed that we don't have enough help in our finance department?
They were both working very busy. And,
They're just, it's,
and I did, unfortunately, because of timing and certain things that had happened, Gene, and I got to be yelled at, is because I was matching it up with the budget, and I misordered some of them. So,
yeah.
apparently that's a no-no,
They
Gene.
were really happy today when they had
Apparently,
like,
Gene, it's a no-no to miss, because if I don't have them.
Don't take them out of sequence.
I did.
You should have asked.
I
I
didn't.
would have told you.
Don't take them out of
Don't
sequence.
take them out of sequence.
But the thing is, but she understands the
Flip 'em
reasoning.
over.
But the thing is, she understands the reasoning, because if you don't have them together by budget line, you don't know if the money's there. And that's how you know there's not enough money there, by the budget line. If I don't have all the budget lines together,
In December, there's never enough money.
there never is.
No.
There's never enough money in January, right from the get-go. We could always use more, Gene, I'm with you. I'm with you on this.
Okay, so that's my thing.
So,
And
okay,
I-
but so now for the purposes of approving the warrant, so I can go sign the checks
All
right
right.
now that she,
So
How do you
I
wanna do this?
want, I don't know what the impact is, so I need to know when I guess I'll just have to talk to her. We'll have to do journal entries, as long as you're agreeable to that,
We're absolutely
because I
gonna-
don't want, no.
You're gonna
If it
absolutely
hits
have to do it.
2013, if it's encumbered in 2013, and it got paid in 2014, it's going to be impossible to unencumber what is now paid without voiding and reissuing, and that'll be, forget it. That'll be, forget it. So we'll have to do, we won't be able to release the 2013 money, but we'll be able to fix anything that's on a 2014 voucher that is a 2013 expense, and we'll be able to do a journal entry back to 2013. I got it.
But I'm with you too. I don't think it's as bad as you think, though, because there's not that many vouchers that are dated from 2014. You are absolutely correct. There are a handful of them which are encumbering funds either from 2013 or 2014, and you're going to have to make journal adjustments to correct it. Absolutely. But I don't think it's as many as you think, or I hope it's not. I mean, if you counted your folded pages,
It's my folded pages.
2.
no, you didn't see them?
I know, but I'm just trying to help her. 6.
You try to help.
make you feel better.
You try to help me count. Okay. And,
I'm with you. I don't think
and
it'll be
this
bad,
one,
though.
this one, I gotta know what that is.
Is that
Yes.
the,
The highway,
I
Well, do you want me to,
$315.
well, wait, do you want me to go, should we go, just go pull that one?
I
through?
remember looking at it, and it was
What was the amount that's petty cash is allowed, the highways allowed?
$250.
You have a in the reorg minutes, you have a $250 highway petty cash.
But what happens, though, Gene, so here's and help walk me through it, because I'm not trying to explain it, I'm just saying how it is. So all of the crew goes out and decides to eat at somewhere that does not bill us.
Okay.
And each one of them has a $10 meal for
Right.
breakfast, a $10, each one spends $30.
Right.
And there's 20 of them, so I just spent $600.
Okay.
We're charging back the petty cash to reimburse those gentlemen.
We also had a lot of,
Y- Is that the wrong process?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm good with that.
we're having to bring trucks up down to Hudson to get them fixed. So a lot is told back and forth on the throughway.
Tolls are fine, but why would I get a lump sum of $315 in tolls? If you're gonna go,
It's with tolls, meals, everything that we've had to reimburse out of any.
So the problem is, Gene, is
Okay.
on occasion, you're going to
Okay.
exceed your petty
So
cash.
let me tell you what my real question is. How do I have a $315 expenditure on a petty cash fund that has a limit of $250.
Because Chris thought it was $350.
Receipts that haven't been reimbursed.
And the other thing is...
No, it doesn't matter that he thought it was $350.
No, it doesn't matter.
You
Okay.
cannot exceed,
See.
in other words, he never has more than $250
Right.
to
So-
play with. So somewhere along the line...
Well, no, Gene, I think we got it here, though, is then are we charging the wrong account? So should we not be going to the petty cash account to reimburse someone for a meal? Should he be charging that to a different account?
It should be put on a voucher.
There
If
you
you're
go.
going to do a number, $315 is not a petty cash amount. A petty cash amount is $10, $3 for tolls. It's not $300. Petty cash makes me crazy.
I feel like I'm getting yelled at by Mrs. Wicks,
I'm
my
sorry.
sixth grade math
I'm
teacher,
sorry,
who I
Patty.
love dearly, by the way. So, Chris, are you following us here? So what it is you're going to get a gentleman or a lady drives somewhere or has expenses, or your whole crew has expenses. They're going to get paid back the same amount of time, whether we just do a voucher for that under the correct line, or we...
Create a value, you want to
Well, this is a voucher here.
deals for $10 for this
Oh,
person.
that can be petty cash, but if you guys are all out all weekend and you...
Remember, we've had pretty much non-stop.
No, and I agree. But the thing is I'm going to pay that person back
Right.
just as
No,
quick through
right.
petty cash as I will through a voucher.
No, here is what I would expect, is that particularly in the winter, you could have a monthly voucher, a monthly meal voucher for each one of them who does snow plowing. See, I don't have a problem with that.
And then that voucher...
And then
we
if
would
you're
they
out
get paid just
all
as quick.
weekend and 3 days during the week, they just keep slapping them on that. I don't mind cutting a check for $315, but it is an improper use of petty cash fund.
And
I'm
if you
sorry.
think we need to maybe
It's
set
not
up...
GAP, Jeff.
And you know I'm a huge fan of GAP. I absolutely agree. So maybe if we need to set up accounts at other locations in our community, I'm sure we'll have no problem doing that. So, there's other locations to get food.
I have no problem paying them back with a voucher. I don't.
Yeah, but also I do feel for a guy...
Company that, but it's not.
Well,
But I don't want-
well, we're going to be negotiating tomorrow with the Teamsters, okay?
it's meals.
So we're going to have,
Yeah, so that they'll get meals, they'll get vouchers, they just won't be, if they put $10 out of their pocket in the morning, and that's the only $10 they have in their pocket, and they come back, they're gonna have to wait for a voucher and a check to be cut.
which in a way, it's true, they're going to be pulling out $10, we've been having some really bad snow, so if all of a sudden, they're working all day and night, and they keep pulling out money out of their pocket, and then all of a sudden...
to the college diner who allows you to, who
Okay.
bills us.
Why don't we do this tomorrow, Chris? We're negotiating with Teamsters tomorrow. Why don't we, in the conversation, say we're trying to rectify all the problems with bookkeeping that we've had in the past. We've had too many issues, too many problems. We just really have to whatever, and we just basically say, that we're going to open up so many accounts. These are where they have to go.
I have no problem with it, ever since I worked for the town, I was always reimbursed cash.
But you didn't work for the town when Gene Galucci was in charge of doing finances.
And, yeah, this is the way it was always done. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but this is the way it's always been done that way. So the crew is used to that. I don't, it doesn't make a difference to me. That's the right way to do it. They're gonna have to live with it. Or by
Well,
agreement.
we'll just ask, where do they go? We have the account at the diner.
See, a lot of them don't. Some want a full dinner. Some just want to go buy deli, grab a sandwich quick, go back to the shop, eat it, lay on the couch for a little bit. It varies.
No, but I'm saying, is there like, could we do a couple of delis and a couple of restaurants that would cover their needs? And we're not looking to make it harder for them. These guys are going out in the middle of the night to plow the roads for us,
Usually not too, I could ask, but it's usually not too indicative for a deli and stuff. I have to take charge count. The diner would probably do it or does it as a favor. That's about it. You're not going to go to a hard-rolled deli and say, I want to run a tab. I wouldn't believe it. I've never asked the question, to be quite honest.
She might be willing to do it. We have to make it work. It's got to work.
I agree. I agree. I'm not trying to make it hard.
No, I know, you're just trying to,
I'm just trying to figure, if the guy comes to work, where he gets $20 in his pocket, winds up staying for
Yeah.
2 days.
Well, one of the things that,
He's got nothing,
well, this is something to talk to the board about, because this was something that Arlene said to me today, because it's just so much work for them to get the vouchers ready and whatever. Now, for some reason, at the village board, Katie was saying that they approve vouchers sitting at the table at the village board meetings twice, each meeting 2 times. I said, I don't think they have the amount of vouchers that we must have and the amount of bills that we must have. But she wanted to see if we could do it more often, but that means you guys have to come in and audit them more often. So, she was trying to sort of say if we could do.
I told her I
Well-
was good with that, so.
Okay, well, I'll just throw my 2 cents in. I did not do my village vouchers at the board table during the meeting,
I'm just
okay?
saying what I was
I did them on the weekend, and it took hours.
And I agree with Jean, in the meetings I've attended, I find it incredibly distracting when there are board members sitting there instead
that's
of
what they're
paying
doing?
attention, and they're sitting doing the
But
vouchers.
you're not doing your meeting stuff.
And
You're either doing
it's-
your vouchers, or you're doing the conversation, and you're not doing,
Right.
you're not paying attention to your vouchers.
And so doing them at a table, to me, is not a good process.
Oh, I'm not saying we
because-
should do them at the table.
Yeah.
I was saying she was
No,
saying
yeah.
that that's what they do, but
I
they pay
did
them more.
I had the same discussion, and
They-
let alone going with a much further discussion on how to manage finances, a larger budget,
okay,
but I will
but-
come in more often.
No, what they do do it twice a month, okay? But they have a week in between their meeting. It's
Right.
biweekly, whereas here, ours are
One
each-
right after the other.
One right after the other.
Yeah.
And so that practice wouldn't benefit us, because we do the prepays anyway, so you don't have that spread. If we had a 2-week spread, it would be a beneficial practice.
But, this issue is, in terms of how these guys get paid, because it's true, it's not fair in the sense that they,
If it comes to that point, I'll give them the money myself, and I'll worry about collecting it later.
Okay.
If they're short.
Okay, hold on, because I don't want you to lose sight of what my real problem is. One voucher is $315, which exceeds the entire petty cash by $65. The entire petty cash fund. How does this happen? It shouldn't happen. It should not be in front of my face. It shouldn't be in here. It should not have occurred. And I don't know how it happened.
well, what you're saying is if there's $250 in petty cash, there shouldn't have been $315 to pay out of petty cash, because the difference between $250
Right.
and $315.
And the
so where's
petty
that
cash
money?
reimbursement is even higher than that. So what I'm saying is, we have a problem that is going to be a problem during audit.
It's only a problem if we don't have a solution.
So,
You got a problem when Linda comes.
Yes,
That's
I
what I'm
concur,
saying.
absolutely. And so what we've learned is that and you already gave us a solution, Gene, which is awesome. The solution is that we are billing these to the wrong account completely. It is not a petty cash. It is, to your point, it's processing vouchers more frequently so we can reimburse the employees that are laying out the money and not taking it from petty cash or billing it back to a petty cash. It would be a meal fund. It would be tolls.
I have no problem with deleting petty cash altogether.
Well, Jim would be very happy.
Oh,
so-
look at that
Okay.
smile. Now you
Well,
got a
Jim would-
smile
Jim-
back.
So Chris gets my point,
Yeah, no,
and
but-
Jeff missed my point.
No, Jeff
I
didn't
get your
miss it. Jeff
point.
didn't
I
miss
get
it.
your point.
Okay, then how do we, but,
Then
so-
actually, we can do that too. I have no problem doing that too.
So,
To get it through something arranged that has to be made with the Teamsters that I'd have to read the contract again.
well, let's just,
I don't think it says in the contract they have to be paid back immediately or they're paid back.
no, but in fairness, they shouldn't be expected to have to take money out of their pocket, to pay for meals, and if they don't have the money, if people live month to month and, they squeeze the stuff out and they don't have that money in their pocket, and then what, we expect them not to eat while they're out there?
Diner will take it, then we just narrow it down to. if
You have to go to the diner.
You have to go to the diner. There is.
Okay, why don't we, again, since we're having negotiations tomorrow with the Teamsters, why don't we bring this up as a conversation of how to bring ourselves into compliance with the auditors and make it work so the guys can get fed during a storm. And it'll be part of our conversation tomorrow. And then if there's a new policy we want to put in place, we can do it next week.
That's literally the only reason we would have free cash is reimbursement for meals or an occasional toll. You know, and the tolls is I'll get an easy pass. I'll put 2 easy passes on, one for commercial, one for non-commercial, or heavy truck, one for light truck, and they can be billed to the highway department in a separate line. It's a little illegal to grab an easy pass and grab it from one truck to another, but no one really cares, to be perfectly honest.
Everyone does it with their car.
I'm happy you didn't have a microphone when I said that.
No, and don't they do the same thing with the police?
No, each car has its own. Actually, they don't, actually, you put one in everyone.
There's no cost to it. Yeah.
How often do they go, well, I mean, they go over the bridge
You know-
to, for repairs, that's it?
No, they go up to, Hudson for some of the
I mean,
trucks.
the new trucks break down an average of once a week.
Okay.
We're, back and forth to Hudson. If we have to go down, to to get a part, during the day, we take the throughway. We get 8:30 there. Sometimes time is of the essence, so we take the quickest route possible.
Yeah, well, we're not looking to make life harder and have people take local roads and not do what's efficient because of the fact that we don't know how to bookkeep it. So that's ridiculous. I think we just figure out how we're going to bookkeep it.
I'm
So-
intrigued by the idea, Gene, of, because there's no cost to them, of a master billing account on municipal easy passes and all the vehicles. That would eliminate,
If I put one in the mechanic's vehicle and
well, they don't cost anything, so they'll
the highway,
we can get as many.
they're always taking, the 2 trucks.
So why don't we, I mean, it's a starting point,
Well,
why don't
the
we?
Easy Pass, you can prepay. It's prepaid, so they just drive through. Worst case scenario is it says call Easy Pass, and then you come to Arlene and she makes a deposit on it. But please, could we move on? This
Okay.
is such a big issue.
Okay, well, we just have to figure it out though, because it's a problem.
I know, but I haven't resolved it in the last 3 minutes.
Okay, so how do you want to make a motion relative to accepting the warrant?
Oh, well, I didn't audit them fully, so Jeff should really make.
I'll make the motion. Are you willing to come in, and are you guys going to do journal changes? Well, we have till the end of the month apparently to do that.
No, this is going to have these very specific journal
Yeah.
entries relevant to this warrant.
Well, there's going to be transfers that are going to need to be done too, prior to the end of the month.
There's also one bill with PDQ that I think still has to be
So
resolved.
can you get the journal?
All right, so I make a motion to approve the warrant
In the amount of,
pending,
is she reading the hostage
No,
note?
she's hiding her face.
because Susan was staring at
Because
me.
I'm watching.
Pending appropriate year-end correcting journal entries that are needed.
Second.
Okay, so all I want to know, Gene, is that motion, in plain English, does authorize me to go back and sign all the checks on my desk right now so I can give it to her tomorrow to mail out, right?
Certain, Rosanna, wasn't that plain English? See, Rosanna's got it.
Okay, so
You
all
go
in-
ahead, knock
all-
yourself
all-
out.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carried.
All right.
And I don't think we have any prepays, budgets, transfers, or modifications.
Motion to adjourn.
So,
All of-
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Congratulations, Dan, on your first official town board meeting.
No, he just wants to cry. Don't ever put me next to Galucci again.
She's been kicking me under the table too.
Dad!
One second, I want to know, is it off?